Ahoy hoy, I am Planwalk, and welcome to Rush of Stupid Episode 2, and I see that AB Science has actually joined.
I have, just about made it.
Nice, I was worried that we weren't going to get any of the other panel members, and so obviously there's AB Science on the panel, and taking up the rest of the panel is Hugh Jarsz.
Yes, all of it, in fact. Greetings and salutations to everyone.
I'm just going to bring the... It's annoying when things don't split into separate programs when... sometimes. Anyway. So, yeah, how's it going in the chat? Let me bring that up because I haven't read it in a while. And
well, I can see my crush in there.
Yeah, so people are asking, what's the Craig here? So unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though Craig or Team Skeptic have shown up. They might do later on in the stream because they have the capacity to just join the call whenever they want. So who knows? Maybe they will join. We'll see though. And one person asks, is this going to be another 8-hour stream? No. No.
Hopefully, anyway.
As long as we get it through it, and as long as we get through this in a timely manner, and honestly, I could try and make it 8 hours, but I'm not going to try that. I mean... going through stupid can be pretty painful, and I don't want to put too many people through too much of that. So, we'll start with this image that I found on Twitter. So, firstly, the spelling. Man on the moon, my ass.
I mean, was it a man on the moomin? Is that what he's trying to say?
Or does he call his ass moom?
Maybe he misspelt. Maybe he calls his ass the moon and misspelt moon.
Mum?
Man on the mum. Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Yes, and it created his ass.
Or maybe he wants maybe the man on his mum he wants in his ass. Maybe there's some things where he's into this guy that's dating his mum, but you know, who knows?
Yeah, it could be a thing.
It's interesting. It's interesting because when you're typing and making a typo, you're just hitting the wrong key. But when you're actually doing handwriting, as this is, to change an N into an M, you actually have to do an extra stroke. So he's working harder to do extra work.
True.
To deliver it. So.
But you got to also consider the capitalization there. It's man on the moon.
My ass.
And then there is, but
you misspelled ass, of course.
I am on your server. Please bring me in.
Oh, this is actually a private call, Glass Monster. So I try to limit the amount of people on the panel for this. But yeah, on the back window, one of the things that I can see there is Google 200 proofs. And you can just make out where it says Earth is flat.
Oh, yes.
So...
well, what's funny is if you Google 200 proofs, you get all these debunking videos of it.
You do get a couple,
Well, yeah.
I know.
I was just wondering what actually does happen when you just Google 200 proofs, but...
Well, right here, it says, if you Google 200 proofs, the first thing that pops up is a video debunking a flat earth book. And it's 200 proofs is not a spinning ball, debunked part 1 on YouTube.
So my top result is actually the Amazon listing for his book.
Yes, same here.
Let's see what I get.
He's probably paid for that to come up first.
Well, if you list something on Amazon, it pretty much goes right at the top straight away because money and shit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should write a book debunking it and put it on Amazon.
Possibly.
Oh, that could
I'm
work.
actually wondering who it's by. It's by Harry Everett.
That's my gutsy. He's more.
Is the video that actually comes up, or that he's referring to. I have no idea who this is, honestly. So, that's an interesting thing. But anyway, let's go on to the next small thing. Where is it? I need to organize my... I need to get another window, honestly. Alright, so... This isn't something stupid. I just think this is awesome. So, I was browsing Twitter recently and I came across this. When it loads. Now, could we...
Oh, okay.
Like, could I set up a crowdfunding source to go get this? I mean, sure, it's only 3 monitors, but I mean, if I have a Scorpion chair,
But they're big monitors, so it's like having 5 monitors.
possibly. But you know, if you have a Scorpion chair, then you know it sort of makes up for the lack of monitors. And besides,
I guess so.
And besides, I only have 3 monitors right now, so
Does the seat vibrate?
no clue.
Because I don't want it if it doesn't vibrate.
Yeah, I want it at least to be a massaging chair.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to spend all that money, you'd think it'd bloody well give you a massage.
Like, one of the good things is that it has this sort of you can basically lie down while playing video games and stuff. So
It's probably
yeah.
better for your
Yeah.
back as a result, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do it. I don't think I could do it.
Well, there's plenty of other things you got to spend your money on too, isn't there? You know, like food,
Yeah.
mortgage. Yeah.
But I suppose the key comment underneath from the guy who posted it, I would get 0 pussy for a 0 p word forever. But holy fuck, that's a contract. I think you're kind of summarizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sort of market this is aimed at. I think the chair would have to be a little bit more robust than it looks like, because you know it's carrying a lot of weight for that sort of market.
Probably. I suppose you have a Hugh Jarsz, so would you...
Well, that's how I know. You know?
Would it support your weight?
Well, maybe. Those little legs look a bit spindly. If they're made of carbon fibre, I guess it'd be all right.
I like how...
It looks like one of those toys you get out of Kinder Surprise, doesn't it?
Kind of. Like, basic trigonometry says that he's afraid of that thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also something else that you have to consider, right? Because basically buying that means that you've given up. You've just said, it's like, no, I'm going to spend most of my life playing video games. Like, I'm not against video games, but I think that's just a bit too much.
Is there something else to life? I mean,
Apparently so. I haven't found it yet, but
yeah.
you know, it's that idea. It's like you walk into a house where there's a tiny living room and then there's a huge TV, and I'm like,
Yes.
you no doubt that there's more to life than television, right?
Yeah, he rents a 1-bedroom apartment in the seedy part of town, but he's got this chair in there.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, I probably would actually move... I'd probably actually have to live in a higher class part of town if I were to get this chair, just because, you know, sometimes people break into my house. It's actually happened twice, although it wasn't really a
I
break-in.
don't think they're going to be stealing that chair. Don't worry.
Yes. And did the people that broke into your house leave you some money?
No, they took the food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's always the funny thing, right? Because my house was broken into, and there was a drawer with a significant amount of money in there, completely left alone. All they did was watch morning television, because when I came back, the TV was turned on, eat a bag of crisps, and halfway through the sentence someone changed that to chips and did a massive shit in the toilet. And that was it.
They didn't even flush.
They didn't even flush.
Ooh, we're leaving DNA.
Yeah, they didn't even flush. Just ate some crisps, watched TV for a bit, left the cash, didn't actually steal anything.
Well, you know what that was in both those cases? Someone had the munchies.
Well,
Yeah.
for
They had no
me,
money, so they'd spend it on the drugs.
yeah, for me, when they come into my house, the first thing that they seem to go to is the fridge, and like one time they stole a bunch of eggs, because I've actually found the eggs afterwards on the pavement outside. So that was annoying. I was going to have French toasts. But then another time, they actually stole a leg of lamb. That was very, very disappointing. Like, highly disappointing.
Bull.
Has anyone noticed how many people are now doing Let's Play videos? I am finding it funny that there is a lack of stupid but more mind-numbing gaming.
Well, the thing is, there's always been a lot of people doing Let's Play videos, right? Maybe not in the community. So you got Team Skeptic doing Let's Plays, and you got who else is doing Let's Plays?
Global Mum does it.
I think,
Brainy Beaver.
Mum does it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Simon Dan does it, but on a separate channel, I suppose. And I think Radical and FTFE do it, but they've got separate channels for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've stopped Let's Playing.
Yeah, I've considered it for City Skylines, but mainly just because I was thinking of getting a big City Skylines game going on, but I haven't got the hardware in house here, so I've rented out a server with a GTX 2080 or something like that.
Okay.
But it's not going to be ready until February, so
Maybe what I'll do is
pain in the ass.
Maybe what I'll do is when it comes to the when is it?
Bull.
30th of October.
Here's a start. Bloody awesome is all I can say.
Thank you, John Rapp.
Oh, we should give John Rapp the John Rapp salute, shouldn't we?
Oh yeah, the John Rapp salute. Middle fingers in the chat, guys. But yeah, so when it comes to the 30th of October, maybe I should do a gaming stream then. Because that's my birthday. Anyway, let's move on to some programmer humor. I found this rather interesting. Nope, that's not the right one. God damn it, must have forgotten to press Control C. So this one. Oh. There we go. So, apparently this is something that someone has found. So, does anyone know what this means? Maybe? No?
Oh, yeah, okay. I have a rough idea what that is. Yeah.
He's randomly showing how many people are viewing, I guess.
Yeah,
He's
essentially...
basically dodging up the numbers.
Yeah, essentially it's showing that it always shows at least 3 people are viewing, plus a random number between 0 and 12. So for example,
like it's changing. Yeah.
it's chosen a random number of 11 and plus 11 plus 3, and that's how many people are looking at the product. So it's not actually taking the amount of people looking at the product, it's just trying to make people think, oh, there's a limited amount of time to get this, you know?
Yeah, it's cheeky.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, if you take any website's word for that, and if you ever at a point where you go, oh, the website is saying that many people are looking at it, and I don't think you understand the internet.
Yep, there's a lot of places where you're buying something, and as you're buying, they send up a little message that says, "Oh, someone in this suburb has just bought, this," and that sort of happens all the time while you're on the site. And I looked up the postcode of some of these places, and they're way out in the sticks where there's like 4 people. So the chances of someone actually from there buying something are pretty low, I'd say, at the time that you're looking at the shop.
Probably.
Yeah. It's also pretty funny. The other day I was looking at something extremely esoteric, and they were saying it's like, 25 people have been watching are looking at this right now, and I really somehow do not think that 25 people are currently looking at a negative tone resist without photo initiators.
Or a box of earbuds or something.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, like, it is understandable. Although, I kind of doubt that there's 70... Like, I'm seeing this thing where it says that there's 75 people looking at this particular thing that I'm looking at. And I kind of doubt it. Like, it's like 3 guys that are looking at memes, basically. So, why would 75 people be looking at that? I'm talking about my stream, by the way.
Well, it's governed by YouTube. It's not governed by you, so...
True. Anywho, let's go on to the next one. Where is it? Where's Discord? There we go. Alright, so if I move down... Now, recently it was 9/11. So, obviously, when 9/11 hits, you get all the flat earthers and Karens and all that posting about various 9/11 conspiracies, like this one here. If you think the sun is 93 million miles away, you'll believe anything. Showing an image of the Twin Towers. Now, I kind of wonder, did they just decide to get the get like an image that they could find where there was crepuscular rays just behind the Twin Towers? Are they trying? Because I'm pretty sure that they're talking about 9/11 here, saying, "Oh, you'll believe 9/11 or whatnot." But,
Well, the ironic thing is that flat earthers will believe anything.
Oh yeah,
they believe we live on a rock pizza flying through space and that kind of thing. And the other thing about this is, if the sun is just moving between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, this is New York, which is a long way above the Tropic of Cancer. So why is the sun directly over New York? It shouldn't be under their model.
True. I don't think they thought this through, honestly.
A flat earther didn't think something through? Oh my god!
Imagine my shock!
Yes.
That was my very bad Paul Joseph Watson impression there. Who is a bit of a conspiracy nut, but, Wait a second! Hold on! Something just caught my attention. Does anyone notice what's trending? Spurs.
Nope. Spurs is trending?
Yes, Spurs. Now, obviously it's not referring to the Spurs that we're all familiar with, Spurs Kimo. But Spurs is trending. I just find this funny, honestly.
I'm not seeing Spurs, but maybe I've got different trendings.
Right here on my screen, it says Spurs is trending. Premier League trending Spurs.
Oh, okay. As in Hotspurs, yeah.
Yeah. So...
I went straight to YouTube.
Now, it's like if Spurs was trending on YouTube, I'd think that that YouTube is broken. Like, yeah, people said Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham, yeah.
Tottenham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why Spurs has his name, because he loves Tottenham. So.
Okay. Anywho, another thing that I've seen is this one here. I'm getting a lot of my sources from Cursed Conspiraboomer Images, so make sure you give them a follow. Because they have some really funny stuff, like this here, where there's this person who's obviously scared of big pharma, vaccines, 5G, fluoride, chemtrails, GMO, and pollution. Now, I can actually understand being afraid of pollution, like, that can be quite nasty. But the rest... like, I'm surprised that they can actually outrun 5G, because doesn't 5G move at the speed of light?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I'm surprised coronavirus didn't make it into there.
Same, actually.
And he's scared of the vaccines for it as well, so yeah. You think the coronavirus will be running from the vaccine? That's the whole point.
True. Maybe he's got coronavirus, and that's why he's running from the vaccines. And then there's also like the other stuff like GMO. I never understand people's fear of GMO. Like, isn't literally every food apart from meat genetically modified? Like, I know that corn has been genetically modified over the years, or that...
Yeah. There's artificially, as in, in a lab, and there's, like, more natural, like, crossbreeding of, different
Natural
animals to get a different... Yeah, natural selection. Well,
Or,
not natural selection,
artificial
but
selection.
human selection.
Yeah.
Yes, artificial selection, yeah. I mean, it's still animals, they're still natural in the sense, but, it's like corgis didn't exist a few thousand years ago, but they do now, so...
Yeah, your dogs... Here's the thing. Your dogs are genetically modified.
Yeah.
But one of the things that not a lot of people realize is that a lot of vegetables that we eat and a lot of fruits and vegetables have been genetically modified in a lab, right? Way back when, and essentially what they did with the seeds is they blasted the seeds with radiation, grew them, and worked out which seeds were the best. Not a lot of people know this. I'd say that that's far more dangerous than the genetic modification that we do these days. Like, firstly, the genetic modification that we do these days has to be approved by the FDA. If it's, at least in America, it has to be approved by the FDA. If it doesn't get approved by the FDA, it's not allowed to be eaten. Or not allowed to be sold as food.
I love Dora's statement. That's why veggies are evil. Eat more meat.
I mean, I prefer vegetables sometimes, honestly.
Vegetables are good for you. It's a joke, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to have a balanced diet and all that sort of thing.
Selective breeding, genetic modification.
Aflamio says selective breeding does not equal genetic modification, and I'd agree with you, but it still doesn't change the... when it comes to things, it still doesn't change the fact that a lot of foods that we do eat have been genetically modified just by blasting the seeds with radiation. Although one person mentioned bacon, and I must admit I do love bacon. Like, if I ever see bacon, I'm eating that.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's proof of God's existence. How could anything as yummy as bacon ever exist on a random world?
True. But when it comes to things, like, I just find that what's it called? Vegetables are cheaper. So,
well, they are, yes.
Yeah. So that's the main reason why. That's the main reason why I eat them. I'm glad that I wasn't that fussy as a kid, because otherwise I'd be starving due to being unable to afford meat at times. Because meat can be bloody expensive.
Yes. Although you're in New Zealand, so lamb, I imagine, and mutton is pretty cheap.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's like saying beef over here is cheap, but it's not really.
Chicken is the cheapest meat here.
Yeah, because of the battery farms, yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. I'll bring up the next image. The next image, by the way, is great. Like, I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm definitely covering this. Hopefully, chatbot lady mentions the super chat that... Cause
she's a bit behind.
Yeah, definitely. Because demonic...
So don't take this as an insult, folks. Folks, we love your super chats.
Oh, there we go.
Look at broccoli and Brussels. They were made using selected pollination but are now more robust due to our meddling, ha ha ha.
Yeah. Like when it comes... Oh, and when it comes to broccoli and cabbage and... Or I think it's broccoli, kale, cauliflower, and you mentioned Brussels sprouts. Like, these were... all came from the same plant. A plant that looks nothing like the monstrosities that were bred into existence.
Oh, same with pineapple is a big one there because it used to be like a tiny little fruit, or bananas, for example. And now with selective breeding, we've managed to get them up to much bigger. Although I think bananas are genetically modified.
Yeah. Like bananas, in fact, if there were to be a disease that targeted bananas, then basically all the bananas would die because they're all clones of each other.
We had that trouble a couple of years ago in northern New South Wales, which is a big banana growing area in Australia, and but a disease went through and wiped out most of it, and they had to get some new stock in from elsewhere.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to this next image.
Bull.
Oh.
I love Hugh Jarsz and I cannot lie.
Thank you, Pop Lady. I mean, you're only human after all. Oh, hang on.
And that was from Hugh Jarsz. Or was it really? I don't know. Like
Bull.
Digital demonic Davros can stick his Brussels P.
I like how when it comes to these things, like she sometimes goes, rather than going Brussels, she says Brussels SP. Very, very funny. But I find that there's a super chat war between John Rapp and demonic digital demonic Davros. So that will be interesting to see who wins. But anyway, this image here. Apparently what we see is a mask, like this. Oh, I got it upside down.
And what conspiracy nuts see
is bondage. So, I think I want to be.
Oh, that's a kinky photo.
Yeah, I think I want to be a conspiracy nut. It seems like they can turn masks into something kinky.
It's definitely creative. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not always into that, but I mean,
it's very revealing of the mindset, though, isn't it? They turn it, they twist and turn it in their minds up until it's something evil, and they had to work so hard to get it there.
But
it's also kind of, if you think about it, right? What they're trying to equate that to is that S&M practices and stuff like that, the submissive is not a consensual participant. Because that's kind of what they're hinting at here, right? So
I don't know anything about S&M.
Analogy.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna run under the assumption that both participants.
Yes, you looked it up on Wikipedia.
Adults.
Okay. Well, let me just see if this. Give me a few seconds. I'm not going to be able to hear either of you while I put this on.
So, is what they're saying is that when a surgeon is performing surgery, they're doing bondage as well?
No, not feeling it.
Well, to be honest, I mean, sometimes when I'm doing work and I have the mask on, it definitely feels like I'm there against my will.
That's what everyone at work feels that.
Yeah, but, I've had to do the whole mask thing all day anyway, even before the pandemic, so, yeah.
Bull.
it's just a basic safety
DDD is
thing,
awesome, but
working
breastless
nanotechnology.
sprouts are evil nasty.
So it's not a super chat war. Got it.
What does triple D mean in this case?
Digital
Oh,
demonic
digital
Davros.
demonic Davros, yeah. Or digital disappearing Davros, as we call him on the black site.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not feeling it. Like I don't feel kinky with this mask on. Like,
You're not wearing it yet.
well, I am wearing it. Like, I'm wearing a mask.
Sorry. Oh, that mask, yes.
Yeah.
I can see it now.
I'm not feeling it though.
No, you're not getting hard over this.
Maybe you're supposed to get the eggplant as well.
Maybe.
That's the missing component.
So, anywho, on to the next thing that I've got. And the next thing is from this person who, well, you'll see. So, there's this thing going around that I've heard about called Event 201 or something. Like, I'm not sure what they're going on about. They're saying Event 101 was like the Twin Towers. Event 201 was the coronavirus. And then they're like Agenda 21 population control. And it's like they're going on about like 21st century 21 years of the century 2021, 21 years old of age, adult, 21 is first year of adulthood. Really? Like, okay.
Yeah, in the US, but that's the US. I mean, that just shows how fucking ignorant, because
Well, it's like
European countries, it's either 16 or 18. It's but if you look at it scientifically, it's generally somewhere between 25 and 27.
Yeah. And then it says next year is the vaccine 2021. Oh, and they've got vaccine in all capitals because apparently that's bad. And then they've got 21st tarot card, Trump card, the world. Right. I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what they're referring to when it comes to tarot cards. It may be because I'm not insane enough. But, you know.
And also Agenda 21 population control, it's not working.
True.
There's more population than ever.
Like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If Agenda 21 population control hasn't halved the population of the world by next year, I'm going to be like, fucking told you that shit's not not happening. You know? Or,
yeah, I mean, but then again, you know, that's...
And they've also got this, like, no human...
The whole Agenda 21 thing is just ridiculous, how people can... it's the whole depopulation thing. It's like, how do you think people are going to achieve that? Through education and healthcare, not by killing people off.
Yeah, like that... Like, they take this thing that Bill Gates said way out of context, right? So essentially what Bill Gates said is he said that we can achieve lowering the population by about 10 to 15% by better healthcare, like providing vaccines for people. And what they took that to mean was the evil vaccines will kill everyone, and by better healthcare, he means abortions. It's like, I think he also said contraception, like making contraception widely available, and they took that to mean abortions. But no, like, it's not.
I mean, I've spoken to Bill Gates about this, and
You've actually spoken to Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I've met him a few times. I used to work at Microsoft, and I've met him at a few kind of functions.
Okay.
But yeah, we're talking about this, and it's like his spiel is not like his direct motivation isn't necessarily even about, you know, improving like healthcare, and just it's just about making it more affordable. And I think the conspiracy nuts, they're really funny about this because on one side they'll talk about the pharmaceutical industry making too much profit and stuff like that, and But that is exactly one of the things that Bill Gates is focusing on, saying it's like, well, okay, you've got your richer countries. Goes like, well, you can make some profit there. That's fine. But he's encouraging pharmaceutical companies to actually make the medicine available at much lower prices in poorer countries. So that allows economic development. And, you know, there's a good argument there, you know, even a good capitalist argument there, allow economic development in these areas. So these can change from markets which are struggling, from poor countries to developing countries and emerging markets. And that on the long term presents new opportunities.
Yeah. Like,
simple as that.
Well, I may not be the biggest Bill Gates fan. Apparently some of his practices when he was in charge of Microsoft were pretty bad, and I don't know if you can attest to that.
They were.
No, he's probably learned from that, though, is the thing.
Well, the thing is, you don't accrue that much wealth without some pretty fucking nasty business practices, right? It's that's part of it. But you know, he's very much at a point where it's quite literally like, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, well, his whole purpose for his life right now is to give all that money away. So, you know, what a bastard!
You know, like I used to be like, Bill Gates is just a rich bastard. But seeing as Bill Gates has actually done some good in the world, and it hasn't just been, you know, like hasn't been basically Jeff Bezos, then it's like, well, actually, I can get behind Bill Gates. You know, like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every billionaire is a policy failure, right?
Yeah.
But
like, he's... Bill Gates is not the Koch brothers, essentially.
Precisely.
You know? Like, if he was, then I'd be like, fuck Bill Gates. But, you know, he's not. Anywho, here's another fun one. So... this goes through, like, the different things. So, June, to stop COVID spread, you must wear a mask. And I mean, that's fair enough. Masks are effective. July, to stop COVID spread, you must wear goggles. And that's actually fair enough. Like, goggles would actually be effective.
Yeah, the eyes are a way that viruses can enter the body,
Yeah, because the mask stops you from infecting others. The goggles would protect you from being infected.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of low percentages here, but it's better than nothing, that's for sure.
Yeah. August, to stop COVID spread, you must wear earplugs. And, I mean, one person right here says, don't have to listen to any of these guys' bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the benefit. September, to stop COVID spread, you must insert butt plugs.
Well, a lot of people do that anyway.
I mean...
pandemic or not.
I mean, it sounds about as kinky as what they think the masks are like.
I mean, it seems like they have a bit of an obsession. You know, it's kind of like, you know, they go straight to that. It's like, well, I know what's on your mind. I mean, I'm not going to kink shame, but you know, at least find some comfort with your own fantasies. Come on.
Yeah, like, I'm not kink shaming. Like, butt plugs don't sound that bad. I can think of much worse stuff. Like if they said butt plugs that are cactus shaped. Well. Okay, that does sound pretty bad, but, you know, it's just a normal butt plug. But October, to stop COVID spread, you must be mummified. And once again, this person says, you get to groan and scare people.
Yeah, awesome.
And then November, to stop COVID spread, you must be encased in carbonite.
Well, that'd do it.
Well, in fairness, I mean, don't mummify yourself, because this was back in the Microsoft days. There was a Halloween thing we did, and I got myself mummified with bandages and stuff like that. And I ended up with quite serious health effects due to due to it just being too hot and getting dehydrated and stuff like that.
Okay.
I actually did pass out. It was wasn't good.
Actually, Dr. Peekapup says mummification is another kink thing, so, you know.
Oh, how do you know? I've never heard of it, to be honest.
I didn't know that it was a kink, but, you know, if it is their kink, then I'm not going to kink shame, honestly.
I am sure that there will be a rule somewhere about if the concept exists, there is a kink for it.
Yeah, I guess so. But this is the fear of the slippery slope situation here.
Oh, exactly.
They're thinking, you wear a mask, and the next thing you're going to do, you're going to be mummified or encased in carbonite. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous, really. It just shows that conspiracy mindset. They just don't really think things through properly. They're just scared of everything. They're scared of being controlled and that sort of thing. But the thing is, the only reason masks have been made mandatory is because people aren't wearing them naturally, and the virus is spreading. So it's for their own protection. It's not a lot to ask.
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
I mean, if you're asking
is that it's become politicized, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it shouldn't have been, because it's a health issue.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the troubling things about the whole coronavirus malarkey. It's just how it started as kind of like this, you know, politically it was neutral. All parties were, you know, it was not a partisan issue or anything like that. And, you know, everyone was gunning for it and going for it and trying to, you know, work together to find a solution. And as it's gone on, it's just gone round these divides. And it's... it's just tragic how that goes. And I feel that this has to do with what people's political ideas are and, you know, what candidate they're supporting, that somehow becomes attached to your identity. Yeah. So when it becomes when there's a criticism of an idea, it's no longer perceived as a criticism of the idea. It's perceived as a criticism of you.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's about their self-worth.
And that is where it becomes problematic.
Yeah.
You know, because, for example, you know, you had Nancy Pelosi with her trip to the hairdressers or whatever it was, and there was no masks involved and whatever, and people started just bashing it out, and it's like, no, Nancy Pelosi just did a fucking stupid thing. It doesn't matter if it was a setup or whatever.
Yeah,
that was a stupid fucking hypocritical thing to do, and if she represents you or not, you're against it.
Yeah, like
it's her, it's not you. And stop. You can criticize the people you support. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I find it weird that people sort of get so invested in one political party or the other, because you know, they're all crap. There is no such thing as a competent government. They just all, everyone, sometimes they'll get it right, sometimes they'll get it wrong. We're all humans, so that's what's going to happen. And people say, oh no, this party, all death, you know. It's just mind-boggling, really, because reality is always what we can all agree to, because that's what actually gets done. That's how politics is driven. I don't know if I've explained that exactly, but I think you've got the idea. So yeah, this is just bizarre that people will invest themselves, and that creates other problems politically because they're so invested.
It's like I don't always wear a mask when I go out, and the reason, like, some people will say, "Oh, you're a hypocrite wanting people to wear masks." It's like, well, it's understandable in New Zealand. Now, if I was in Auckland, I'd absolutely be wearing a mask because I know that there's quite a few cases of coronavirus. If I was anywhere where even if I was in Waikato, I'd be wearing a mask because in Waikato, they've got cases. But because it's being contained for the most part in New Zealand, and the most of the new cases that pop up are related to are basically in Auckland, and it's related to one of the pre-existing cases. It's like, okay, well, I don't need to worry. But as soon as a case appears wherever, like if there's a case where I live, then I'm going to essentially be wearing a mask every day, you know? Like, that's why I have these masks, in case I need to.
Yeah.
And
Well, also, if nothing else, it's an example to everyone else. If the more people who actually do it, the more likely other people are going to do it.
yeah.
And that benefits everyone.
And what's the most legitimate kind of argument they've got against wearing a mask? Oh, it's a little bit uncomfortable. Well,
Big pussy.
you walk around on a hot summer's day, just wearing fucking any clothing is uncomfortable. It's too fucking hot.
Yeah.
Are you going to walk around in protest around the city, bollock naked? No, you are not going to do that. And you know what? That is less dangerous than you wearing a mask.
Wait, didn't you think it would be more dangerous?
Wearing a mask. That you walking around bollock naked is less dangerous than you not wearing a mask.
Oh,
That's
less
what I
dangerous than
meant.
you not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But
Well, it
like,
depends on how many insects are around, I guess. But yeah,
now I can't.
biting insects.
Yeah, but then again, you're just then you are just you are just putting yourself at risk, and and that's fine. If you not wearing a mask only put yourself at risk, then fine, go ahead. I wouldn't give a shit. But that's not what masks are about. They're not to protect you from getting, catching the virus.
To stop you giving it to someone else, yeah.
But it does also add a bit of additional protection as well, though. Like, if you wear a mask, it means that you're less likely to catch a virus.
Yeah. But the main thing is to stop you infecting others if you have it, because you don't know if you have it. That's the thing about it. It takes about 2 weeks to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, the overwhelming majority of people with caught it are asymptomatic, right? And you have to, because there's also that meme that goes around. It's like, oh, if 2 meters social distancing works, then why are we wearing masks? Or if masks work, why are we social distancing? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, no. Take it simply, right? Let's say 2 meter social distancing reduces the chance of you spreading it by a factor of 2. So you suddenly, there's a 50% chance.
Yeah.
Wear a mask, a further 50% chance. So that's 0.25. And that carries on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And what you're talking about is risk management. And unfortunately, the vast majority of the population don't have lives where risk management is a thing. It doesn't really come into their life. So they don't really understand it when other people are imposing it on them.
Yeah. I mean, 82 Productions put a few bits, like he called me out, on me, shaming him for his Saturday night's activities around walking around naked. But yeah, it makes a point. Just because the seat belt in my car is functional doesn't mean I'm going to remove the airbags. Simple as that.
But I do, and there is one thing that I can understand, because I do know that wearing a mask can fog up glasses if you have them. But surely there are, I'm pretty sure I've even heard of masks where they don't fog up glasses, or you don't get glasses fogging up from wearing them. Like, I'm sure I've heard of that,
No, yeah, it is a problem, right? Because at the moment, the only time when I'm at work, I can take my mask off is when I have to wear goggles and I work with liquid nitrogen or liquid helium or something like that.
Okay.
Because the condensation fogs up my glasses and I can't see what I'm doing. And when you're working with fucking liquid helium, you need to be able to see what you're doing.
Fair enough.
Unless you want to break a finger off, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad if you just have a small drop. The other day, I did spill, I would say it's about half a litre, about a pint of liquid nitrogen over my foot. It was a bit chilly.
Okay.
Yeah, protective boots on, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, working in clean room and stuff like that. It doesn't really, because what happens is that when nitrogen comes in contact with the skin, what happens is that the heat of the heat kind of boils off the nitrogen, so you have a layer of where the nitrogen is gaseous, and that prevents the liquid nitrogen from actually touching your hand. So it gets cold, but it doesn't burn you. It's when you press down on it. It's when it goes inside your glove or something like that, and you press down on it. That's when it gets really painful.
Ah, okay. Also, I just noticed... I was just going to say, I just noticed a couple of people in chat. Like, one person, Royal Kenny, said, N95 do not fog glasses, for they do not let air up towards the eyes, which makes sense. And I think that was like the type that I probably saw where they said, these are great, they don't fog up your glasses. And then another person says, you can all look forward to Trump re-election November 2020, followed by another Trump term 2024, you dopey fuckwits. And it's like, okay, first off, you sound like a dopey fuckwit, and second off, I'm pretty sure you're contributing to the kind of thing that is the problem. Like, I was going to mention earlier that in New Zealand, it hasn't become as politicized as what it seems like in other countries. Like, both major parties here are in favour of measures to reduce the spread of coronavirus, both Labour and National.
What a surprise!
You know, however, in other countries, also there is some politicisation of it in New Zealand. Like, essentially, the Judith Collins, the National Party leader. The reason why I called her Karen Collins in my video about New Zealand politics was because she had this conspiracy theory that the Labour Party knew about the community spread before they announced it. And it's like, I don't think they would, because, you know, if you fuck up by not telling everyone that there's been community transmission, then people aren't going to want to re-elect you. All it's going to do is hurt your chances of getting re-elected. So, you know. So, yeah, there's still some politicisation here in New Zealand, but
that's what politicians do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Anyway,
well, I think it's you know, you have the polarization happening, and I think it's like, you know, it's understandable and it's defensible in the run up to an election, right? But once the election is over, that needs to be fixed.
And it won't, because people have that
has
momentum.
Been absent. That has been absent, and I would like to say that Trump, you know, is responsible for that, but he's not, right? We've seen early stages of that already happening in certain comments that Obama made, and
that wasn't helpful.
Yeah, you know, he has made certain comments that's not helpful, and then,
but then, you
know,
there are things that Trump has done which hasn't been helpful. Like, Trump could have done a lot better than what he did do. Now, there are some things that I do disagree with. Like, I'm pretty sure people were saying that it was racist or something for him to have a no-fly or no entry from China when this first thing was first emerging, which that wasn't helpful, I'll admit. Like, I'm saying that the people criticizing him for that because, you know, that's where the virus was, and, you know. However,
well, it's probably one of the best decisions he's made on this.
Yeah. However,
that's the thing. I don't know if we're gonna look at that, because there's in the room. I did post a tweet from Donald Trump from earlier, which I found really funny.
Yeah,
but there is the. I don't know if we want to cover that today.
Yeah, we're going to.
But there is the notion that, you know, you can criticize a candidate that you support, and
definitely
you can praise a candidate that you don't support for certain actions.
Yeah,
like
that's perfectly allowed.
It should be about the idea, not the personality.
I mean, you know, I said that in a tweet the other day about this. So in the UK, there's this Eat Out to Help Out thing, which, you know, basically it's an interesting program where basically you go out for a meal on Monday to Wednesday, and basically the government pays for half of your meal, or £10, whichever is the smallest, right? And the idea is to get people out and, taking advantage of the hospitality industry, injecting a bit more cash there. And it's this really nice little balance between kind of the supply side economics and the demand side economics. And it's a really nice policy. And there are certain restrictions they put on it. It's like you can't apply it to takeaways. And that means that for restaurants to take advantage of this, they need to make sure that they've got front of house staff employed. That injects money into the economy. Great. Now, this is a good policy unless it's during a pandemic.
Yep.
Right? Because and then I would say it's like, yeah, if the economy were in a slump, this is a good way to, this is a good stimulus package. But you're doing it in the middle of a fucking pandemic, and we can now see it's made things worse.
Yeah.
So that's going to result in further economic strife. So, yeah, I can praise what I would consider my political opponents, the Conservatives, for that policy.
But the way that I view it,
in principle, right? In principle, but not at the time.
Yeah.
Context is everything sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuance.
Yeah, the way that I view it when it comes to politics is I judge parties based on their policy. Now, one of the things that I actually asked my my family when I was talking to them recently, and I asked them, "What do you care about?" Mostly when it comes to politics, and I can't remember what it was that they said. I think one of them said jobs, and I said, well, if you care about jobs, your best bet is probably to vote National. And these are people that will always vote Labour. And the reason why that they always vote Labour is because they understand that Labour is generally for the working class person, right?
Or at least Labour say that anyway.
Yeah, like that's the sentiment. However, when it comes to these things, you have to look at policy. Like, that's a really important thing. Like, this year I'm most definitely voting on policy. Now I'm starting to lean. Now initially I was going to be voting for the Greens, but I'm actually starting to move towards Labour because they have some really good policies that I like. Like, they're thinking of moving reaching the 100% renewable energy from 2050 back to 2030, which definitely is going to be a challenge, but I like that. There was another one, though, that they're also thinking of adding a new tax bracket. And that is one that will only affect people that earn above $180,000, and that will be a 39% tax bracket. I like that idea. However, I think when it comes to the Greens have more policies that if they were elected, they would actually affect me rather than affecting people that aren't me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're getting dangerously close to politics here.
Yeah. But, my point on that is just... my point on that is essentially, vote based on policies. Don't just vote because you don't like a person,
Yeah.
Anyway,
so, end of politics discussion.
Yep, we'll go on to the next. We'll go on to the next one, and oh shit, it's a politics one. So,
talking about politics and talking politics are two different things, if you know what I mean. There's a nuance there.
So this person on Twitter said, "Vote Trump like your life depends on it, because it does." And like, is one of Trump's policies universal healthcare or something? Have I completely missed?
I don't think so.
Now, I know what they're talking about. They basically think that if Biden gets in, then you're fucking gonna have like something like the Third Reich or something. That's what they think. But
they said the same about Trump too. It's amazing how it works that way.
Yeah.
All politicians are evil. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I find that the problem with politics is they completely, they completely take whatever the opposition is to whatever party they support and say, oh, the worst thing will happen. Like, they were saying that Obama would bring the fucking Antichrist.
Yeah, but that was at a time when, you know, that was somehow the, you know, more, well, it's still fringe, but it would still be considered fringe, but that was the really out there, really fringe stuff. And
yeah, it's not the mainstream thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, but now that kind of idea is...
It is funny, though.
It is funny.
I just find it funny. Is like, you know, regardless of where your stance is on BLM or on Antifa and stuff like that, but they're all saying it's like, yeah, he would let these people run riot, blah blah blah, and burn the states down. It's like, you do understand that all the Antifa people and BLM people I've spoken to fucking hate Biden.
True.
They just don't hate him as much as Trump.
Yeah, like when it comes to, I've heard a lot of people mention that they seem to think that Biden and BLM and Antifa are all in lockstep. But I've been looking at a lot of discourse, and most people's that I see online on the online discourse, like you got people like Vosh that are like Vosh basically says, you know, he would prefer someone like Bernie, but he would much rather prefer Biden over Trump. And he's been arguing with these Bernie or bust people that say, if it's not Bernie, then they're not going to vote. And it's like, well, you know, it's better that you do vote, because otherwise...
That's handing it to Trump, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I find that politics in recent times has become it's become a cesspool, basically, of anti-intellectualism.
And a big part of that is the partisanship of the media. Instead of being independent and, you know, communicating information to people, which is what its function was supposed to be, they've become cheer squads, and that doesn't help anyone. It's a bit hard to tell what reality is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think there's an important thing that you have to remember, that regardless of the political leaning of your particular, you know, your preferred news outlet, you have to remember that the news is not a public service. It's an entertainment industry.
Oh, definitely.
Well, it is now, yeah.
Like, actually, here's one thing that I was not talking about, but thinking about recently. Like, a lot of people are blaming, like, YouTube on the rise of Flat Earth, but I actually... You know who I blame? I blame the media. Honestly, I'm blaming the media because a lot of things about Flat Earth actually came from them. Now, first off, you had like B.O.B. and that stuff, but then you had like all these people like, wasn't it Vice that interviewed Nathan Oakley?
Yeah, I think he had Vice, and then you had, I think it was Freddie Flintoff or someone like that, but. The data doesn't bear that out, unfortunately. It will be a nice kind of thing to say, but the data doesn't bear that out, because what you would expect to see if it were just the media, you would expect to see a big spike when the story comes out in interest, and then you have an exponentially decaying function, and we do see that, but there's a significant background to it which shows that there is a steady increase, and then there's a steady decrease again. And it actually, funnily enough, it almost follows the SIR model of infection. It is actually something that
like I am
that you would expect to see from a pandemic, and YouTube is definitely a big part of it. There's a lot of work and a lot of research that has gone into that, and kind of tracing and how that develops, and you can quite clearly see the causal links in there. Now, those big media stories, they wouldn't have helped.
Oh, definitely.
But
one of the things that I just want to say though is when it comes to it, like I'm not denying that YouTube definitely played a role, right? But my point is that there's a lot of a lot of people seem to brush over the media's presence in it, or the media's because a lot of things.
Contribution.
Yeah, the media's contribution, because essentially you never see them get someone like Simon Dan onto the news. It's always Mark Sargent, because they're the people that will get clicks because people find it.
They're more ridiculous.
Yeah. Whereas Simon Dan would come along and basically be like, oh yeah, the Earth's a globe. Flat Earthers, well, he wouldn't call flat Earthers idiots, but you know, if they imagine if Simon Dan was on the morning show, right? And I think that having flat earthers on television, like to you and I, it doesn't validate them, but to them it validates them. Like I think Nathan Oakley was like, "Well, I got a mention on primetime television. Have any of you globeheads gotten that?" No.
Yes, but they made you look like a fucking idiot. But yeah, you got a mention.
And they take it as validation of their points, and I think that is a problem.
Well, but I think, but that's also the reason why I don't debate flat earthers, right? Because, firstly, the subject is not subject to debate. But if I were to enter a debate, then I would be saying that it is subject to debate, and I am validating it.
Yeah. Now,
and I think, but I think that there is the question to be had is what responsible journalism is.
Yeah.
And I think you can just dispel the notion that that journalism can be neutral, like politically neutral, or any subject. You can dispel the notion that
because people
that
are
should
involved.
be the gold standard because there are people involved. But there is the question of there's the question of what is responsible journalism.
That honestly is a really good question. What is responsible journalism?
Well, theoretically, that's defined by the Journalism Code of Ethics, but they've ignored that for so many years that you wonder why they bother talking about it.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's a good point to move on, because we've actually been at this for over an hour, and we've still got three
So much dirt to get through.
We've got 3 segments still to get through, and we haven't finished with this part. So this is another thing that I found on Twitter. Like, you got people that, like, the next couple of ones are very similar, but you've got this person that says that they're constantly flabbergasted by the number of idiots who wear masks over their mouths but not their noses, and that is a valid point, right?
Yep.
Like, if you're gonna wear a mask, put it over your goddamn nose. Like, who cares if it fogs up your glasses? It's like having...
Yeah, but it's also, that's... People wear it over their mouth. It's like, I don't think you know how the respiratory system works, because most of the time you're breathing through your nose. When you sneeze, most of it goes through your nose.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't seem to understand you're supposed to, the little bit of metal stuff on the top, you're supposed to press that down so it seals your nose, you might say.
Okay.
Yeah, it seals it off, and the blue side is the outside.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Few basics.
Yeah, like I haven't. I was wondering what that thing at the top was for. Like, now I know.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't. It's amazing. There's only so many things you can do on a mask, and they don't even get that.
Okay, well, that's probably going to help me when I'm wearing it, so that's good. But then you've got this person that says that they're constantly flabbergasted by the number of idiots that wear masks, and yes, we're going to just brush over the fact that I didn't properly know how to wear a mask.
Well, I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, I actually didn't know what it was for. I was like, okay, what's this for? And I didn't realize that you're supposed to do that.
You push it down till you follow the contour of your nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know that, so we're just gonna brush over me being an idiot and focus on everyone else being an idiot.
Well, I'm sorry for raising it then, but yeah.
So there's an argument in the chat going about whether JFK is left or right by the standards of today. You have to expand your scope because we're dealing with an international audience here, and what you would consider very left wing in the US may be considered quite centrist in Europe. For example, in many West European countries, Bernie Sanders would be a little bit left of center. So you have to kind of consider when you're having that discussion that a person may come from a different country where the frame is the frame of the discussion is a bit wider or it's shifted. You see, an American might say that the frame of discussion in Europe is shifted far to the left, whereas in Europe we would say, actually, no, it's still very right wing. You barely have left wing candidates, right? So you have to. It's not even the time that you have to consider; it's the country as well. It's the culture you have to consider.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll go on to the next thing because I feel like we've brushed over.
And Peter Bill, it's Bernie would not just be considered in former Soviet bloc countries. He would be considered centrist in many West European countries as well.
Yep.
Yeah, like to be fair, like some of his policies are very radical. Like his healthcare policy is, I think, for most countries, it would be considered radical because he's basically saying, let's eliminate private insurance or something like that. But
well, that's not what he's saying at all.
But oh, really?
That's not. No.
Well,
that's not
we're
what
getting
he's
into
saying
politics again.
Yeah. It's a little bit more complicated,
Oh, okay.
and that's all I say on it.
Yeah.
So another response to that person was constantly flabbergasted by the number of idiots who think a thin piece of fabric that is kept in their pocket, occasionally dropping it on the floor by accident as they travel between shops, and is reused on a daily basis, is offering them any protection whatsoever. So, firstly, it's meant to protect others, not you, right?
Yep.
Secondly, who drops their mask on the floor all the time? Like, is this something that is widespread, or like?
I don't know. This must be the same people that constantly drop their phones. I don't know. I mean, the amount of like smartphones you see with cracked screens, I'm a bit befuddled because I've been using smartphones ever since they came out, and I've never dropped one to the extent where I've actually cracked a screen. I don't know how it's possible.
Yeah, like my phone.
So I'm assuming it's the same people.
My phone, I actually cracked one screen in my life, and that was because it was in my pocket, and I also had like a bottle top in my pocket that I had I had squeezed so that it was sort of in half, and I was jumping on a trampoline with my phone and that in my pocket, and then it cracked the screen of my phone. This was a Nokia phone, by the way.
Yeah.
Nokia, wow.
Yeah, this was an old Nokia phone as well. Like, I'm very shocked. It wasn't a. It was just before the touchscreen phones started all coming out. So that's how old this phone was, and so yeah, that's the only screen that I've managed to crack in my life. Although I'm a bit more careful with phones like this one here, because I feel like this phone, the amount of scratches it's got is a bit disconcerting compared to other phones other Samsung phones that I've gotten. So hopefully I don't crack the screen on that. That'd be a first for me cracking a screen on a touchscreen phone. But at least sometimes they still work.
Anyway, we got other things to get onto, I think, apart from cracking screen.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's go to Dublin for this this next one. This is actually a bit of a video, if I recall correctly. So let's see what. So it says up to 300 self-styled Irish patriots gather in Dublin and not wear a mask or an inch between them. And then it says there are at least 3,000 coronavirus deniers marching through Dublin city centres. Slogans range from "Take off your mask" and "It's only a common cold" to "Wake up, people." So
Tell that to anyone who's died from it.
Exactly.
Not that you can, because they're dead.
How many Karens are there in the world, and why are they all gathered in the same place?
So they can all catch coronavirus. Well, I shouldn't say hopefully.
Well, that's the problem, though. It doesn't spread very well outside.
Wait, who's ringing you? What? Lockdown it. What the Okay, that was ironic. The guy that, so someone was just carrying a sign past. Let me see if I can find. Okay, so, oh shit. So we value health, freedom, privacy. Well, if you value health, wear a fucking mask.
And if you value privacy, wear a fucking mask, because facial recognition doesn't really work that well.
Yeah, and normally you don't go into a bank wearing a mask, but you're allowed to now.
True.
It's now encouraged.
It gives a lot of bank tellers PTSD, but anyway.
But you know what the irritating
serious.
thing is about this whole thing? I think one of the big guys in the movement is Jim Core, of the male sibling of the Irish band The Cause.
Okay.
So it's people with high profiles just, spreading fucking nonsense again.
Yeah, like that. It is really annoying the way that they are going about this. Like, you've got people that range from. So you got people that range from COVID deniers denying the virus's existence, and one of the actual really annoying things about whenever I make a video on, whenever I make a video and someone disagrees, they think that I'm attacking their ideas specifically, and then they'll say that I'm strawmanning their ideas. It's like, no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm attacking the claims that I've heard. I've never heard of your particular ideas, hence why they weren't addressed specifically in my video. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it must be the really fringe people, I guess.
Yeah, like, they might say something like, like, they'll say, people don't actually believe that coronavirus is a hoax. It's like, actually, there are people that do, and that's who I was addressing. So, yeah. Very, that's one of the annoying things about debunking things. You always get those people that think that you're addressing them, but when you're not.
Well, it comes back to what AB Science was saying earlier about, people make it part of their identity, and if you look like you're attacking anything that they believe in, if they feel like you're attacking them personally, but you're not. You're addressing the idea, and that's the way all debates should be. They should be about ideas, not about people.
Yeah. All right. Next thing is from Melbourne. Let me bring it up. It's on Twitter, and it's something that you actually said about yesterday, Hugh.
Now about the woman dragged from the car?
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's watch this video, and it is a little bit honestly stressful to watch. But
Can you step out of the car, please?
No.
Excuse me.
I don't, let's bring it back to the start.
Are you going to state your name and address to me?
Can you please get your hands off?
No. Can you step out of the car, please?
No.
Excuse
At
me.
least she's wearing a mask. Like,
Or
Yeah.
because
So she's not a
I have
COVID denier.
car charger on my car. They sell them everywhere. They sell them at petrol stations.
That's not the problem anymore. The problem is you're not stating your name to me.
Just because I have a car charger.
Can you get out of the car, please?
No, I don't feel safe. You're armed.
You're safe.
she's
Don't you worry
No,
about
I
that.
don't feel safe. You're attempting to get into my vehicle. What are you doing?
He's a police officer going about
Hey,
his duty.
excuse me, you're not practicing.
Hey.
What the are you doing? What the are you doing? Hey, get off me!
Get out of the
Get
car.
off me!
She's got anxiety, relax! Relax, she's sick! She's actually sick, relax! Hey! Relax! Relax!
Are you going to
So-
state your name and address to me?
Can you please?
she should have just stated her name and address. Like,
Yeah. Follow the police's instruction, and it wouldn't have been a problem. You know, there's I think Team Skeptic did a similar video about someone in the States, and they had to smash the window, you know,
yeah.
to get in.
Like, when it comes to, like, here's what I do whenever I interact with police. I be polite and kind, and you know, basically follow their requests, because I'm not guilty of anything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I know that if, like, I
Well,
know
it's also the law. If a police officer gives you a lawful instruction, then you've got to follow it. Otherwise, you're breaking the law.
Yeah, like, I know, like, I know that if a police officer, if I get pulled up, I am that white that he's never going to shoot me or anything, right? And
Yeah,
now,
I mean, you're so white, you're basically transparent.
He's a bloody
Yeah.
ghost.
yeah, like, I'm not going to, I know I'm not going to be shot. And she is also so white that if she had have just complied with the police officer's instructions, nothing bad would have happened. Now, I realize that it may not be the same for everyone, but if you're white, follow the police officer's instructions.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, so you know, in the area I've worked in, you know, I've got a very good relationship with the police. But you know, I have had experiences with the police where it was a little bit less friendly, and just by virtue of my name, right? They asked me my name, I identified myself properly, but they thought I was lying because I have a funny name.
Actually, one thing that I do have to rectify is I said if you're white, follow the police's orders. Actually, doesn't matter what color you are or what you know, if you're blue, purple, black, white, follow the police's instructions, because even if you do follow them and you get unloaded into, at least you followed their instructions, right? Because you know, I'd rather that not happen, and if there is a way to for that to not happen, then the most likely way I'd say is follow the police officer's instructions. But you know, if
Well, what
you're
you're getting at is she created that situation because she didn't.
Hi friends, good to see everyone, good to see Jessica G too, I guess. Sigh.
Yeah. So this woman created the situation. It's not good that people are dragged out of cars, and I'm sure the police don't want to do that. And that police officer will be going under review, I can assure you, because that's the way the police work.
Yeah.
They don't, especially if it gets into the public domain.
Yeah. One thing
Well,
I got
at least in countries where you have policing by consent principles, you know, where the police follow the PDN principles of policing. And yeah, she's Aussie, so yeah, that applies there.
And yeah, it should in Victoria as well. But yeah, I mean, the police also, kudos to police officers everywhere, because they have the worst job in the world. They deal with the worst parts of society, so the rest of us don't have to. So they have a really tough job, and they have to deal with people who, especially at this time, who might be infected with the virus and who are acting like idiots. And our entire channel is covering that.
Okay.
So they have a tough job, and this woman did not make it easy for them to do their job. But they gave her a lawful request, which she's supposed to comply with, and she turned it into something that it shouldn't have been. It didn't need to be like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure she wasn't murdered or anything. Like, if she was, then that would be a problem. But the thing is, she wasn't. Like I feel like a lot of people have this victim complex where they want to, because they were pulled up by the police and didn't comply with the police's order, they feel like they are George Floyd or something, even though... But, like, if... The only way is if the police do... The only way for you to be the next George Floyd is if the police actually do something bad to you and do something wrong. Otherwise...
Yeah.
You're just some fucking idiot that didn't comply with police instructions. You're not a martyr. You're not.
Also, they're just simple principles, right? That even if you do things in protest and stuff like that, there's simple principles that you must follow. You can, if you
don't have to, but it'll be worse if you do.
Yeah, because if you believe that the police officer is doing something unlawful and everything in that situation, you then find yourself like, well, let it run out, right? Let it run its course in that sense, because
especially if you've got nothing to hide.
Then it's a clear-cut case.
Yeah.
Then it's a clear-cut case. They ask you for your ID, you hand over your ID. You've refused to identify, then you're making trouble. But if you feel that they're doing something unlawful, then, there is this whole thing called court.
Exactly.
And your behaviour will affect how the judge feels when he makes a decision about you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and precisely. It's like, there's the other side. It's like, okay, you do not agree with the law and you willingly break the law and stuff like that. That's fine. There is a place in society for civil disobedience and being arrested for it. But, if during the act of civil disobedience you get arrested, you have to take it.
Yeah.
Right? When so many people were arrested for their acts of civil disobedience, they didn't whine like a bitch baby. They cooperated with their arrest. They were completely, they did everything by the book, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to arrest me, hands up, hand behind my back. I'm going to be completely cooperative. You do your thing.
Yeah, that's why.
Because then it becomes a powerful act of protest.
Yeah. That's why this here just, to me, it just sounds like, wah, I don't want to tell you my name, wah.
That's pretty much right.
Yeah. One thing before we go on to the next thing, I just have to say, good to see you two, Cygnus, Cygnus TSP. I think that's how you say it. Because he sent in a super chat of
Cygnus
5 years.
Teaspoon?
Maybe.
Or tablespoon?
Maybe.
Teaspoon, otherwise it would TBS.
Oh yeah, true. So, Cygnus Teaspoon. That's what we're gonna call you from now on.
Until he corrects us. Or she.
Okay, here's another 9/11 thing. I'm pretty sure this is a joke. It's just funny. So, here we go. This is really what happened on 9/11. The libs have tried to hide the truth. Now that's funny. I gotta admit, that's funny. Like,
is that guy supposed to be anyone in particular, or?
Have you heard of that song, This Is America?
No. Oh, This Is America.
No, it's like, It's like, this is America. I don't remember the lyrics. It's I think it's Childish.
Ain't That America is what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Gambino or something. I can't remember. Oh, it says here Kaiju Gambino. But I can't remember the exact person. I know it's someone Gambino. But yeah, essentially...
Yeah, it's Childish Gambino.
Yeah, essentially at the beginning of the video, he's dancing and then he gets handed a gun, shoots this guy in the head, and then says, "This is America." Basically, it's a very political song with a political statement saying how violent America is and all that, and all that kind of stuff in it.
Well, it's Donald Glover, isn't it?
I think so.
So yeah, that's going to be quite political, considering his recent antics.
Oh, what did he recently do?
He's been arrested loads of times over the BLM marches and shit.
Okay.
Correctly.
Okay. I didn't know that. But yeah. So
Captain says it is Donald.
So yeah, I found this very funny. Some people may say that it's a poor taste in humor, but I don't know.
Well, it is, but that doesn't mean it's not funny, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, onto something else. Now, this is from a Twitter user called Flat Earth Effect, and they've linked to Infowars.
Flat Earth Effect.
Oh, well,
no Flat Earther is ever effective.
So I'm not going to click on the link. I'm just going to go off what it says. It says, Osama bin Laden's niece says only Trump can prevent another 9/11. And, like, Infowars, I think that's all that needs to be said about that, honestly. Like,
yeah, that's Infowars. It's
yeah. Like,
yeah.
The bull... Like, here's the thing, like, if it was any time else during the year, I'd understand posting something with a headline like that, but posting it near 9/11, I think, is like trying to stir up trouble in a way.
Well, if only, No, I mean, it's Infowars. It's just a bunch of conspiracy theorist shock jocks that...
Yeah.
And frogs are gay, apparently.
Yeah.
Some frogs are. They can change sex.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, yeah. If they're going to post a story like this, I guess they are going to post it around this time, aren't they? So they've probably been sitting on it for months.
Probably, honestly. Anyway, this is
just the way media works.
This is another one saying, conspiracy researchers have basically solved 9/11, but just like Flat Earth, regular people can't handle the truth. They prefer the official version.
Conspiracy researchers, what a concept.
Yeah, it's...
Like they're watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, like it sounds like what they've been doing is just watching too many YouTube videos, and then
from their own echo chambers.
Yeah, and then they think that 9/11 is an inside job or whatnot. Oh shit! I just pressed the wrong thing. So
I'm constantly stunned. Are they saying prefer the official version? Well, even if the official version is a fake one, it's going to be the one that stands up most to scrutiny because you wouldn't get away with it otherwise. So,
exactly.
It kind of... The one that's more likely to be the truth is the official one because it has to be scrutinised.
Yeah, because... it constantly amazes me how they say so many things like... Building 7 collapsed like a controlled demolition. It's like, therefore it must have been a controlled demolition. It's like, well, actually, there's a whole lot of reasons why it did that. So you can actually go ahead and, like, Edward Current has made some good videos on it. And essentially what it was that building was burning for so long that the inside completely just collapsed, right? And if you watch the video, there's like this bit before the videos that a lot of conspiracy researchers don't show, where you can see the penthouses on top collapsing inwards before the rest of the building. And then the outside crumbles. So they say, oh, it was going down like it was a controlled demolition. Well, no, because
it also went down like there was a massive fire in the inside, burning out its structural integrity.
Yeah, exactly. When it came to the thing from Edward Current, he actually does a simulation and shows exactly what would have happened using a simulation, and the simulation is exactly what happens when you watch the videos. So, you know, I find it funny how they say that they've debunked the official story of 9/11 or whatnot, when in reality, you know, they've just they just don't understand the actual reasons behind it.
Well, they don't accept them because the government told them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The conspiracy nut mindset just keeps you away from the truth. It doesn't give you the truth because it makes you refuse to accept data that you need to know to understand the situation.
Definitely. Yeah. One person in the chat asked, have you ever covered the video, I think it's called The Things 9/11 Truthers Ignore? No, I haven't. If you have me on Discord, add me on Discord and send that video to me, and I'll take a look at it, because I really like taking a look at these videos that debunk things like 9/11, because I used to be on the fence about 9/11, but more recently I've been like, well, there's no conspiracy here, because of all the evidence that I've seen that basically says, yeah, there's no conspiracy happening. So, you know. Anyway, we'll go on to the next thing, and the next thing is rather insane. Like, let's...
Well, more insane than what we've seen so far. Okay.
Yes. I mean, it involves both... It involves Q.
What, the guy from Star Trek?
No, not that Q. So, this person posted on Twitter saying, basically responding to someone who was talking about LGBTQ.
That Q. Okay.
Yeah, basically LGBTQIAP, right? And this person says, what the hell is this? I'm so sick of it. Who's with me? Now, if that wasn't bad enough, this person responded with, they do not own the letters of the Roman alphabet. So here's a different person. And yes, I am a hashtag cunning linguist. And they say L equals liberty, G is guns, B is beer, T is Trump, and Q is Q, as in like QAnon. And like, the fuck?
Yep.
Like,
insane.
Like, firstly, Q is a crazy conspiracy theory. Secondly, like, just because someone has like an acronym doesn't mean they're claiming ownership of the particular letters in the alphabet, right? Like, even in the acronym that we've got here, LGBTQQIAAP, right? Like,
I haven't seen that one before, but
they've got 2 T's. They've got 2 Q's. They've got 2 A's.
So you can't own them because it's one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah. When it comes to
in that context,
when it comes to LGBTQ, right? When it comes to that's like those letters in those particular orders. It's like any other word, really. You know, like, do you not believe in words? It'd be like saying MAGA doesn't, like, you don't own the words MAGA, you know, or you don't own those letters, so I'm going to make a different version. and you know, I can't think of a different version on the spot, but you know,
No, make a good antelope or something.
yeah, something like that, and be like, ha, owned, conservatards or whatever, or whatever you want to call them.
I guess in the end, this is just someone trying to be creative, really. They're taking someone else's creativity and turning it into their own.
Yeah, like, well, not even that. Like, essentially, it's insane. Like, the thing that really gets me is how they had like liberty, guns, and beer. Like, guns and beer are two things that shouldn't mix. Never mix guns and beer.
Well, except they are mixed a lot.
You're like, I haven't done gun training, but make a greater acronym.
Oh, yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, you know.
Well, I was thinking make a great arancini or something, but...
Yeah. But, you know...
My attorneys get attorneys.
But yeah, like, honestly, don't mix... don't mix Trump and Liberty. Like, Trump and Liberty don't mix it well. Don't mix guns, beer, and QAnon. Don't...
My associates get arrested.
Actually, don't... Any of these things don't mix, right? Trump does... Like, if you are for beer and Trump... Trump doesn't even drink beer. Like, what are you on about?
Yeah, he doesn't drink at all, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Which is probably a good thing for a president.
Oh yeah, like I agree. Like if there's something that I can't fault Trump on is that he doesn't drink, and I can't fault him on that because that is good for your health to not drink.
Well, especially when you're 72 or whatever he is.
Yeah, you know, I it seems that most people that do drink end up dying in their 60s or something. It's like, well, probably not a good idea to drink.
Well, drink a lot anyway, yeah, because your liver doesn't handle it.
Yeah. Like, I understand, like, drinking... I understand occasionally getting drunk or occasionally having a drink to take the nerves off. Like, I've done that, you know? But I'm not a raging alcoholic, so...
No. Well, a social drinker is what you call that. You have the occasional drink, especially when you're having friends and you're just wanting to relax. Whenever I'm on the NASA Black Side Area 69 live stream, I always have a whiskey because it makes it easier for me to participate.
Yeah, it's like...
I wish I knew what I was saying, but anyway.
Or for me, now this may shock a few people that are really into New Zealand drinking culture, but I have never done a yardie. Okay, the police are after me for that statement.
Well, yardie's more a British thing, I would have thought.
Maybe, but like it seems to be very much a cultural thing that on your 18th or on your 21st, or both, that you do a yardie, and I'm like, well, firstly, like I would never be able to down that. Although I did down a drink of like not quite a full thing of beer, but it was quite a bit of beer, like. And people were surprised. Well, the person that I was hanging out with was surprised because I think I told them earlier that I'm not a big fan of beer. But I had a few drinks. Oh, so a yardie is like this really... I think it's like a yard long...
Yeah, it's a yard arm.
Yeah,
not a yard arm, it's a yard glass.
Yeah, yard glass.
It's a yard long, and it carries, how much? 5 litres, something like that? No, it can't be that much.
I'm pretty sure it carries quite a bit. Yeah. Like, people are saying yard of ale. So, yeah. Basically. Anyway, we're almost...
Yard of ale, 1.4 litres. Okay, so that's a fair bit. That's like, what would that be? That'd be 2.5 pints.
So, AB, are you still there?
He did pop out. I don't think he's back yet. Must be doing a Riley.
Okay. Well... I think that we should go on to comments. I I think that's the next thing that we should go on to until AB gets back, because I'm not going to turn the comments into its own video. Wait, I should probably actually ask, what did people think of the... Because essentially I turned the Reddit readings last time into its own video, because I know that not everybody wants to watch a 2-hour-long video, and besides, I cut out things like dead air, or sometimes I cut out when things are said that don't really make sense. You know...
Well, that happens a lot.
Yes. So, what did people think? Although I did notice people didn't like the camera, because I did a lot of editing where I was just moving the camera around, so maybe I might edit it less next time if people want. Because I'm going to be turning the Karen time into its own video, and I'm going to be turning the Reddit readings into its own video. So, wait, who here did see the Reddit readings last time? When obviously...
Okay. Yeah, got to catch up to the stream.
Yeah. So, you know... But I'm not going to... Could play the
While we're
Nathan...
waiting.
Yeah, could play the Nathan Thompson version. I should probably actually make it... What's that?
It's just amazing that he's so unaware of what an idiot he looked doing that. You know, it's just... I don't know. The guy is just amazing.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Oh, definitely.
Well, we got a thumb down from Robert Golding.
Oh, I'm not sure if they're
it's
talking...
about... Yeah. Talking about Thompson Jeopardy, yeah.
Yeah.
The question is about Reddits, guys. The Reddit video.
The question is about the Reddit. So, type in r/no and what you didn't like about it, and type in r/yes if you enjoyed it. So, you know, because that's probably a good way to sort of make sure that they're definitely talking about r/, or talking about the Reddit readings, because you know. Because we are going to be going through Insane Parents. r/meh.
Meh.
I missed it. Okay, so they're probably talking about your... didn't see it. Okay.
Doesn't sound like it's a hit so far, but yeah.
r/knows too many of those on YouTube anyway. Oh, okay. Most people missed it or didn't see it, so... I like the editing, but maybe other people didn't like the editing. But it's probably because I spend a lot of time on the editing, because I wanted to make sure, like, here's the thing, like, I didn't want to just repost a clip from my stream and as its own video without doing something to it, because I feel like that's kind of I feel like that's kind of lazy. And so I decided, well, I'll add a bit of fancy camera work in. But maybe I won't do that, because some people didn't seem to like the fancy camera work. But it might not be the fancy camera work. It might just be that it was a Reddit reading and people may not necessarily like those. But I will be doing Karen time. Like, hell yeah, I'm going to be doing Karen time. Karen time.
Da, 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 dun, da, 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 dun. Oh, it's Karen time, yeah.
Yeah. So, is AB back yet?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Oh,
there we go.
cool. So we don't have to go...
You didn't pause for me, did you?
No, we're talking about something else, that's all.
Yeah, we're talking about something else, because we're going to bring up this one here, finally. So, on Twitter, the real Donald Trump said, Sleepy Joe Biden has spent 47 years in politics being terrible to Hispanics. Now he is relying on Castro lover Bernie Sanders to help him out. That won't work. Remember, Miami Cubans gave me the highly honored Bay of Pigs award for all I have done for our great Cuban population. What?
There's so much wrong with that. There's so much wrong with that. First, being horrible to Hispanics, pots, kettle black. I don't know much about Biden's record on Hispanics, but I know that he was Obama's VP, and Obama was, pretty bad when it came to immigration. But apparently, it was too soft for Trump. But relying on Castro lover Bernie Sanders, that's again that oversimplification. What we talked about earlier, isn't it? It's that idea. It's like, well, you can criticize the people you support, but you can praise the people who you're against as well. Because I seriously doubt that Bernie Sanders is pro-Castro. I mean, all he said was praise Castro about his literacy programs and his healthcare system, which are, objectively speaking, fantastic. Castro was a fucking monster, but he did well on those things.
Yeah, it's like I don't like the Chinese government. However, I have to give props to them for some of the things that they have done. Surely some of the stuff that they have done isn't that great. But I have to give them props for basically managing to put set up a very robust trading system with half the world. Now, is that good? Probably not, right? Because it means that they've got a lot of control over trade and stuff like that. And when people,
which is why they did it.
Yeah. And when people criticize them, they threaten trade relations, right? Now, I don't like that, but I still have to give them props for it because, I mean, that's a hell of an achievement. Yeah,
especially when you started with nothing, basically.
But I suppose before we go off on a tangent, it's that last sentence. Miami Cubans gave me the highly honored Bay of Pigs award. Let's just analyze that. Firstly, there's no such thing as a Bay of Pigs award. Secondly, if there were, why would you want to be given an award named after an unprecedented fiasco in foreign policy?
True. Maybe he didn't think that one through. Although, to be fair, a lot of people, a lot of people seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of genius. I think he's an idiot, honestly. There are people that think that he is some kind of genius that's been working with Putin or whatnot, and it's like, nah, he's just an idiot. Or that he's because of a lot of things that he's done has benefited the Chinese, right? They say, oh, maybe he's like some Chinese puppet working for them. And it's like, no, he's just an idiot. I think that a lot of what he does can be adequately explained by idiocracy, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many levels. I mean, but just those three sentences just demonstrate how fucking clueless Donald Trump is.
Yeah,
it's just nothing about that has any grounding in reality.
Anyway, wait, hold on. Wasn't Donald Trump in support of Hong Kong at one point? This is just about the thing to do with whether he's on the side of Chinese or not. Because wasn't he for Hong Kong at one point? I can't remember if that was...
What do you mean by for Hong Kong? I mean, it's there.
Or for Hong Kong, so there was a whole fiasco early this year about Hong Kong and whether it was part of...
You mean about the riots and things?
Yeah.
And he was for the riots? Is that what you mean? Or
yeah, I think he was for the Hong Kong protesters or something like that, which is kind of ironic given more recent events, but you know. I can't actually remember.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the only thing that the kind of recent protests in the US share with Hong Kong is the tactics that the protesters use. The reasons are entirely different. But
And different context too. We're much further into the pandemic now than Hong Kong was.
yeah, we're talking different contexts, and Hong Kong protests have been going on since last year, right? There's the current brewing. Now, again, the same, there's been an undercurrent brewing in the ages. I mean, if we look at what's going on in Oregon before the wildfires, before the wildfires, you had this big flare up of unrest and violence across the states, but there is years and years of background that you have to consider.
Yeah. All right. I think rather than going to comments next, maybe we should go into Karen time.
Karen time.
Yeah. All right. So let me load up the video and then do the video intro for Karen time, because this will be its own video. So, well, there we go. Hopefully it doesn't... Oh, it's auto-playing. God damn it. Alright, there we go.
Yes.
So, what's this set?
Unless you had the test in the last hour, that's not a valid statement.
Yeah. Alright, so... Ahoy hoy, I'm Planner Walker, and welcome to Karen Time as part of the Rush of Stupid live stream. Whether you're watching it live or watching it as its own video. Anyway, this is going to be this video that I found on Twitter. I just randomly ran into it, I think. Or did I search for it? I actually can't remember. But either way, let's take a look at this. Apparently it's from India or something. So, yeah.
I think I remember this one, actually. Yeah.
Nobody has corona. This is not your country. This is not your country.
I don't give a
I like the way that they're handling it. I really do. Basically telling her, this is not your country. Like, she's acting so fucking entitled here, honestly.
Yep.
Not abuse us, okay?
No, quick. Come on, check quick. 500, I give you 100. 500. I'm not giving you 500.
I don't even know. What are they arguing about now? Like,
I think she's getting a fine.
okay.
For not wearing a mask, yeah.
Yeah.
She's trying to haggle with a man on a motorcycle to reduce the price of a lift. So, that's entitlement at its finest. You know? Like,
I mean, of course, you're going to haggle the price of a lift. I mean, them's the rules, but...
Yeah. It's entertainment, if anything else, for these people.
Yeah, it's funny. White person trying to haggle. That's funny.
Yeah, but so she's... Like, when she says, like, coronavirus doesn't exist, like, that's just plain stupidity, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is, if she was a tourist in Saudi Arabia maybe 10 years ago, because I know the laws have changed, and she wasn't wearing a hijab, would she be protesting like this? Because those rules don't apply in her country, I mean, she's very selective in what she protests, put it that way.
That is a very good question. And I don't know the answer.
Because they're entitled to enforce those laws, because that's the laws of their country. But because it's India, she doesn't have the same respect.
Anyway, we'll continue on with the video. See if there's anything else that happens.
भाई ओए बात करने की तमीज नहीं है बात करने की तमीज नहीं है follow the rules nobody stop you
Okay, so apparently from what I heard, there was a meeting that she was trying to get to. I mean, if there's a meeting that you're trying to get to, then just pay the normal price and wear a mask,
Yeah. That's the thing. It's not like the only reason there's any laws about wearing masks is because people don't. And that's what's creating the spread of the virus. So
yeah.
Just wear the bloody mask,
Here's actually a thing that I'm going to be doing if I ever get sick again, right? I'm going to be wearing one of these. Reason being is because, if I have a cold, if I wear one of these, it's going to stop the spread of a cold, right? If I have a flu and I wear one of these, it's going to stop the spread of the flu. I am feeling brilliant this year for not getting sick at all. So just wear a mask. Even if you don't believe in coronavirus, there's still other respiratory illnesses like the flu. So just wear a goddamn mask.
Well, yeah, just look at Japan, where there's been a culture of wearing masks. A lot of Asian countries are like that. And Japan has had total, since the pandemic started, 75,000 odd cases.
Yeah.
And 1,400 deaths, but they've got a population of 150 million or something like that. 126 million. So that's a tiny percentage of people affected by the coronavirus, simply because their culture already had the masks in place.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's proof, but it is evidence that masks help.
Yeah, maybe we should look to countries like Japan and basically, wear a mask.
Yeah, and you're right. It's going to affect our culture. We're going to be wearing masks for a long time into the future because we know it helps. And there's a lot of things other than coronavirus coming along, and there will be another pandemic of some sort. And if we're all wearing masks, then we probably won't even notice it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that it's a good way to... I think that one of the positives from coronavirus is that it has helped the normal people getting used to wearing things like masks rather than... Unfortunately, it hasn't helped the Karens. Also, there is this Karen who apparently... I'm just confused when looking at the thumbnail of this. Hopefully she doesn't do any racist shit like I've seen in another video. There was another Karen that was being racist right at the end, so I decided not to include it in this Karen time.
Oh, Jesus, this one's gold.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen this one.
I haven't seen this one, so let's see what...
Is this like a McDonald's or something?
KFC.
KFC.
Yeah.
KFC.
So...
Give it to me now! Mashed potatoes and chicken! Here! Mashed potatoes and chicken! Mashed potatoes and chicken!
I'm hearing a bit of echo. I'm not quite sure what she's saying.
You didn't work here! You don't mess this shit in!
So what she was saying is mashed potato and chicken. Mashed potato and chicken. And she's... Why? I don't know why she's standing up on the counter.
Oh, because she's an idiot, obviously.
Right. It's a bar, right? You can call it a counter, but at the end of the day, it functions as a bar. And there's only one reason why a person should be standing on a bar.
Yeah.
And as if they're going to get a kit off. Come on. It's simple as that. That's the only legitimate reason for anyone to walk across a bar.
Doesn't look like that's what's happening here. Or at least...
No.
At least I hope that's not what's happening here, because, this has to be safe for work.
Oh, it is safe for work.
Oh, that's good. It's good that you actually watched the video beforehand, otherwise there could be a few problems.
In fairness, yeah, I just caught this on Twitter earlier and I fucking hooted.
Alright, let's continue on.
You don't fucking work here!
Yes, I do.
No, you don't!
What?
You clean this shit up!
I'm driving.
What job is this?
I'm sorry.
Did she just seriously say that he doesn't work there?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't watch this beforehand, because this means that I'm actually having a genuine reaction to this. Oh.
Just crazy shit.
I'm sorry.
Go!
I need you to get off the counter.
Give me something to eat!
I can't give you anything to eat now.
Why?
Because I can't. You have to wear a mask.
Fuck you!
That's okay.
Fuck
You need
you.
to wear a mask.
Get you bitch you got work.
Oh.
I mean, that was a good dismount, though. I'm not going to lie.
True. Wait, did someone just say... Like, let me just go back. Like, someone said, I have a mask or something.
No, now you gonna give me shit. Fuck you, Clint.
What was it?
Oh.
No, now you gonna give me shit. Fuck you, Clint.
Have a
You
good
look at
day.
this shit. Look at the fucking back there. It's all fucking disgusting. Give me some.
So walking on the counter doesn't make it disgusting. Okay.
Yeah,
With your
like,
boots.
I was actually going to bring that up. Like, she's walking on the counter. Like...
Yes, they get a frame of mind that's very, very central to them, doesn't it? Don't they?
Yeah. Like, first off, she's not wearing a mask. Secondly, she's walking on the counter. Like, I wouldn't want to go to that... Like, unless they... I really hope that the next thing that they did was spray down that counter to clean it up. I really hope that they... And they probably did do that.
They'd have to, I think, yeah.
Right? Because otherwise I wouldn't want to eat there. Especially not after she's been there, honestly. So yeah.
Oh, I see why FTFE and Team Skeptic aren't here right now. They've got a debate on soon.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's always the issue with getting those guys to fucking do anything, because they're always, it's their job at the end of the day, I suppose. So,
Yeah.
they've got
They don't have any
lots
other
of shit
income.
going on all the time.
Well, anyway, that's it for Karen time. If you're watching the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching. Anyway, on to the other parts of the stream. So...
You'll have to edit me out there.
I will be. Like, I will be adding a bit of editing there. So we're going on to the Reddit part, where we take a look at insane r/insane parents. I was actually asked someone who does quite a bit of Reddit, not Reddit readings, but just browses through Reddits, and I asked them, okay, what's some good subreddits? And so they sent me a couple. There's one which I think, like, when I have Simon Dan on, I'm going to go to one called Idiots in Cars, because I don't know, like, I feel like he'd be into that. But yeah. Anyways.
AB, are you a parent?
I am not.
Oh, okay, so I'm the only parent in this room. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you can say
Planet
whether...
Walk is not old enough to, have sex yet, so...
Yeah, what is
Damn,
the sex
shots
thing I keep hearing about?
Damn, shots fired. Well, I mean, obviously, Hugh Jarsz is a virgin, right? Well, he's a parent, so he must be a virgin.
Well, how does that work? I must have a chat to the woman. Anyway, yes, start off with racism. That's great.
Yeah, so this person says, bro, my son better never bring no white girl home. That's all I got to say. And, it's like,
And bad grammar too, I should say.
yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
Why? Like, like... It'd be like bringing home any other girl, or I've never heard this from. Well, actually, I have heard it from people that were kind of racist.
Well, this person's kind of racist, yes.
Yeah, like that's the only people that I've heard it from. And apparently, another person that I heard it from was I heard it from someone who heard it from a flat earther. So, you know.
Well, who was obviously kind of racist. Because, if you're not racist, then you're not going to say anything like this, I guess.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. So one person said, so her son must always bring home a white girl, because it says, bro, my son better never bring no white girl home. So that means you've always got to bring home a white girl.
Oh, come on, grammar Nazis. Double negatives are perfectly fine as long as it doesn't make the meaning ambiguous.
True.
Which it has.
Well,
it's the opposite meaning of what she's intending.
Yeah, but on first look, do you know what he means?
Yeah. Well, she don't speak proper like Weeze does, you know? Yeah. And I stuffed that up. Damn it, I always get that right.
Okay, here's a... Ah, shit. Here's a fucking idiot.
Oh, there's a good response. Yeah.
So, she loves having taste of mummy's beer, drink up. And the responses, right, are fairly reasonable. Like, don't let her drink that for God's sakes. What the hell? You know? Like, I think that you probably shouldn't give your children beer. And
I don't know, I grew up on the stuff. It worked out all right for me.
And she actually said, listen, everyone giving me hate. She's having some mouthfuls of beer. She's not shooting fucking heroin. Clearly you've all never experienced being a mum, because if you did, you would know that it isn't harmful to a baby. My mum used to let me drink a little when I was young, and she'd put whiskey on my gums when I had sore teeth. I'd never put my baby in danger, so all of you go to hell. And then you've...
I mean, if it affected you, how would you know?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, the reasoning is I'm a mum, and therefore I know it's okay. That is some terrible reasoning. But,
definitely.
Yeah. That was indeed a practice, a bit of whiskey on the gums and stuff like that.
But I think we're talking about dipping your finger in the whiskey and rubbing it on the gums. We're not talking like, pouring it down their throat or anything.
Yeah, like one person said,
we're not talking about fucking boofing it, are we?
Yeah, one person said there's a difference between rubbing a bit of whiskey on gums to soothe an ache and shoving a pint of beer in a baby's face. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does affect brain development, so you probably don't want your kids having too much alcohol. If the baby's maybe getting a sip, well then, there's probably not enough alcohol in there to make a difference. But yeah, if you're giving your baby a drink, a whole glass to drink by themselves, well, that's a bit different.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll go to some more things. See what... One person said that they're with AB Science with the grammar Nazis as long as you use apostrophes correctly.
Yeah, but that's because inappropriate use of the apostrophe can change the meaning, right?
Let's eat grammar. Well, let's eat grammar.
Yeah, I mean, I depending on your punctuation, I invited the strippers, Hitler and Stalin, right? Depending on your punctuation, that can change a lot. Or apostrophes are the difference between knowing your shit and knowing your shit.
Yeah,
right. It's quite straightforward. There's people harp on about grammar and spelling and stuff like that. I'm like, chill out. As long as it doesn't, as long as the meaning is obvious, you're fine.
Well, as long as you make an effort to communicate your meaning as well. I mean, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They just expect you to figure it out, and that's doesn't aid communication. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But before we move on.
On the other hand, I have pulled people up on spelling issues before because, they were claiming that they have some fantastic understanding, Electric Universe lot, and they were talking about
fair enough
about certain things, and I was just kind of highlighting, it's like, you haven't quite understood the concepts that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they will insist, no, I've been studying this for 40 years, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, if you've been studying it for 40 years, I am pretty sure that you would know how to spell Laplace correctly.
Yeah, and you've also got to realise that their study for 40 years probably involves watching YouTube and
Well,
calling that
YouTube
study.
hasn't been along that long, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just before we
It's
move
those
on,
sort of things.
AB, you said you grew up on beer, and just think, you're a super genius now, but you could have been a super duper genius if you hadn't done that.
True.
Well, I mean, that's what they say. It's like smoking stuns your growth, and I'm like, well, thank fuck I smoked throughout my teens because my god,
You could have been a monster.
it could have been a monster. I mean, I'm already, it's a real thing, right? I did actually look into. I did actually look into an astronaut program. And I was like, oh shit, I'm too tall for that shit. So,
I wanted to be a Formula One driver, but yeah, I'm far too tall for that.
yeah.
Well, you say about having a Hugh Jarsz, so...
No, it's what I am.
Oh, you are a Hugh Jarsz.
Yes, it's not just my name, it's what I am.
That would kind of make it hard to do a lot of things, actually. But
It has its advantages. I can be work at a construction site as a wrecking ball.
that sounds fun.
And steamroller on roads and things like that.
Have you ever worked with...
There's advantages to everything.
Wait, have you ever worked with Miley Cyrus?
No.
Because you could be...
Wrecking ball is the song.
Yeah, could be wrecking ball and let Miley Cyrus climb on top of you.
Yes,
shoot
I'm an actor. I played a wrecking ball. I'm an actor.
And then, I was going to mention about AB. Well, that's something AB Science said about smoking stunting your growth. And I actually know someone who's very short that started smoking at a very young age. So I can attest to that. Like, they're actually 1 centimeter under the height that is considered dwarfism.
Yeah, but you're going to consider the causal link, right? I'm not too sure about it. I mean, have they taken a nationally representative sample of smokers and a nationally representative sample of non-smokers? That in itself is going to be problematic.
Yeah.
So,
do you have the dwarfism gene? I mean, there's all sorts of factors.
True. Maybe the dwarfism gene makes you smoke.
Because for that statement, although I'm not too doubtful about it, but for that statement to be validated, you need to know to what height that person would have grown had they not smoked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but anyway, apparently this was shared by their vaccinated dad who uses 4G constantly. Right? It says, Trafalgar Square, Saturday 19th September, save your rights, save your children. This will be the biggest gathering against tyranny we have seen in modern times. If you need transportation, let us know, and we will try our best to put you with the right people. Message the right person posting this. Hold up. If you need transportation, let us know, and we will try our best to put you with the right people. Message the person posting this. Oh, is there
The punctuation comes in again?
Yeah, I think I might see a full stop there, but no capitals.
Yeah, he should have started in second sentence, and that's why it's important in certain contexts.
Yeah, but they're apparently against they're against 5G and vaccines.
But I think a lot of this, I mean, we live in a society where everything's relatively stable compared to the last 1,000 years. That's for sure. And the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. So we all should be looking out for possible sources of tyranny coming in to ruin our society. But I think a lot of people look too hard sometimes, and 5G and vaccines is an example of that.
Yeah,
and that's why we turn to science to see whether it actually is a tyranny or not. And science tells us, no, don't be so bloody stupid. And yet people prefer to see the tyranny so they can fight about it and make their mark in the world. Yeah. Even though it's a mark that's ultimately pointless because it's not real.
True.
Well, and there's the issue: is that vaccinations are being taken for granted, right?
Yeah,
it's simple as that. It's because we don't, in the West, we don't live in a society where where we've seen the effects of these diseases at a large scale.
Yeah.
So we just take it for granted, and we don't realize how horrible these diseases are.
That's right. Very few. I don't think you guys would have known anyone who had polio. My very first job, I was trained by a guy who had polio, and he had crutches and things like that. And also, I was doing motor racing at the time, and I'm doing it now too, but back then I did. And one of my colleagues was a guy who had polio. He had spina bifida, sorry, not polio. But he could still drive a car with his hands. But you don't really see that these days because those people have probably since passed on. And there's much less of that around in our society. So it's not in the general mindset of the people. And so that's why the whole conspiracy about vaccine anti-vaxxers comes in, because they're not aware of all the good that vaccines do.
I think
because you don't see the problem, then you don't think there is a problem.
I think there's also a problem when it comes to one of the reasons why some people might be against the flu vaccine, for example, is because I don't think there's a whole lot of people that actually get the flu, right? I think a lot of people, they will get the cold and they'll be like, oh, I've got the flu. And it's like, well, no, you've just got a common cold. The cold and the flu are two different things. So I think there's also that confusion there that people have.
Yeah, but if you look at that in the context of coronavirus, right? They're talking about, it's just it's just like the flu. The issue is it's not genetically. It is not because we've got the different types of flu that go around, but all of us will have had a close relative of that year's flu. And therefore it is easier for our immune systems to deal with it, and we have much lighter experience with it. Whereas with the coronavirus, none of us have had contact.
Yeah, we haven't had the time to build up an immunity.
Definitely.
Precisely. And that's also the issue when they're talking about you just need vitamins, bloody blah to boost your immune system. It's like your immune system can be as good as it can be, but it's not going to stop you from being terribly ill. The only thing that's going to stop you from being terribly ill is just sheer luck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
I'm just looking at the latest figures for the coronavirus. There's over 29 million cases worldwide, and there's been 927 or nearly 928,000 deaths. And that's a lot more of an R0 than not R0 death rate than the flu. That's for sure. I think it's like 10 times at least.
Yeah, but there is a bit of an issue, right? Because asymptomatic cases will go under the radar a bit, and there are some credence in saying it's like, well, the death rate may be a bit overinflated. If you look at the figures just like that, what you have to do is look at excess deaths, and if we start looking at excess deaths, we get a different picture. It's still a very troubling picture.
Yeah, but
it is a different picture.
I think they've actually calculated the excess deaths to be higher than what the actual death rate is, and that is for a number of reasons. Like, there are indirect deaths that, although the person didn't have coronavirus, it's because of the coronavirus outbreak that they died. Had there not been a coronavirus outbreak, then they wouldn't have died. That would be like, for example, someone goes to the hospital, there's too many people at the hospital, so they get turned away, kind of thing. And so they die.
There are those issues, but there are also kind of claims I've seen around. It's about that CDC report about it's only 6% of cases which were attributed to coronavirus actually listed coronavirus as the thing. But as the cause of death, but actually the actual statistic is that 6% of cases took the coronavirus as the primary cause.
Or the only cause.
Most of the other cases would have listed pneumonia or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's, it's that whole argument, which is stupid, because if we just compare that to a different disease like lung cancer, for example, it's not the lung cancer that kills you. It is the inevitable pneumonia that you are going to get.
Yeah.
It's the respiratory issues. Or a brain tumor. It's not the
or a
tumor
urinary
that
tract
kills you. It's the hemorrhage, the internal hemorrhaging that kills you.
Or with a lot of things, almost pretty much everything, you die from a urinary tract infection because your body just can't process your immune system's so weak that it can't process it properly. So you get the urinary tract infection regardless. Like my dad had prostate cancer for nearly 20 years, and that's what finished him off, the urinary tract infection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So you have very complex. You have a very complex kind of ecosystem of things that people could die of, and if it is the pneumonia that's going to kill you, then they're going to list pneumonia as the big thing that that kills you. And I think, as someone's just said, or AIDS, right? Because if you're HIV positive, right, it's not the HIV that kills you; it's a common cold.
Yeah, very few people would die just of COVID-19. There's always a comorbidity because it affects the weaker immune systems.
Yeah.
And so there's always something else there.
Yeah, precisely.
But
you have
there's also
looking at excess deaths.
It's just like AB Science
there's also
said with the AIDS.
Sorry, man.
You're
the host. You go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's just like what AB Science said with the AIDS. Like, the AIDS doesn't kill you. It's just destroys your immune system so that it can't fight off other diseases. Would you die if you hadn't have gotten AIDS? No. Would you have died if you hadn't gotten the cold? No.
Yeah. Just for clarity, right? HIV is a disease. AIDS is a status, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that kills you is they are just very common thing, because it fucks up your immune system.
AIDS is actually a bit of a misnomer, because pretty much it's acquired immune deficiency syndrome, and pretty much anyone who's had chemo has an acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So it's a bit of a misnomer in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have to move on, though. So this person here says, scary how many children are testing positive in the area. And someone's dad says, why is it scary? It's no bigger threat to them than a grazed knee. And then this person says, yeah, I get that. However, it is the fact that they will be passing it on to the vulnerable that will suffer a whole lot more than a grazed knee. And then apparently they, I can't find the second one, but they said even if it is passed on, it's still like a 1 in 19 million chance of. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
And it is a bigger threat than a grazed knee, but children have died from it. They haven't died from grazed knees unless they got sepsis or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I find that, here's one of the things that not a lot of people understand about it. They seem to think, the worst thing that can happen, the only thing we've got to fear about coronavirus is the death rate. And it's like, no. It's a disease that can knock you out for a couple of weeks,
Well,
I'd hate
to
get coronavirus.
Weeks, right? Because some people may be aware of a scientist called Adam Rutherford. He's a biologist, and he caught COVID-19. He caught COVID-19, and he was out for quite a while, and it's been a good 4 months since, and he's still having serious issues with his breathing and with his lungs, and there could be permanent damage.
Yeah. And like another thing that people don't get is like Mike71 says, grandma may not survive, and that's right. Like if I had if coronavirus was where I lived, I would never go see my grandmother because she might not survive if I were to give it to her, and I don't want to do that.
And that's one of the sad things about COVID-19. Like one of the people in our community, Chapman, the drunk monkey, and he's spoken about this on air, so I feel a bit comfortable saying this. But his grandmother passed away from coronavirus. She was 94, I think he said. But of course, he wasn't able to go and see her because of the risk to himself. And I put myself in the grandma's position. I wouldn't want, even though it's the last chance to see my children, I wouldn't want them to come to see me anyway, because if I'm going to die from this, I don't want them to have the risk of dying from it or spreading it to anyone else. So, it's a sad thing. But yeah, the children might get COVID-19 and it barely affects them because they've got a strong immune system. But if they go and give grandma a kiss, well, that could be the death sentence for grandma. That's just not a good thing.
Well, that is the problem that we are about to face at the university. It's at the moment I can't travel over to the Netherlands to see my family. And when, that will become possible, well, it's technically possible, but it means me having to isolate for 2 weeks on the Netherlands side and then coming back having to self-isolate for 2 weeks. And that means it's a month out of your life and income. Work, and I've already had, there's so many issues with my project at the moment because of coronavirus. But that may be relieved a bit, in a couple of months' time. But all the students will be back, and I cannot go over to the Netherlands and go and see my grandparents, knowing full well that I may very well be carrying it because of all the students around. I may very well come across as asymptomatic and be absolutely fine, but they will not be.
And that's the big point, I think. I think most people don't get it, that you can have it and not know it. And that's why you've got to wear a mask, and that's why you should isolate as much as you possibly can and that sort of thing to stop it spreading.
I'm pretty much convinced that I've already had it, but I don't know. It could have just been a bout of normal flu. Because, I was horribly sick a while ago, and it could have been the flu, just a mild case of the coronavirus. I don't know.
Well, I think...
But I'm not going to risk it.
I think a good idea will be to move on to something that's not quite coronavirus, but still crazy. So, apparently this person managed to move out from their helicopter parents, and calling them stresses out a lot. And so their parents messaged them, "Why are you missing? 0. -1. And so they said, "I don't want to add you on that. It's my choice." And I think it might be that they don't want to add them on something like Instagram or something. And they say, "I did not argue with you because of this. I just let you know if you don't call us or contact us by message, I'll -1 score, then count your efforts to decide how many days you can stay in my house. I don't care you add me or not." I think they're talking about Instagram or something. "That's your choice." And they just said, "Can you be more mature?" Like,
what is this about?
Apparently they
-1.
Yeah, apparently they're scoring their kids on like how much they contact them.
What sort of parent is that?
Helicopter parents?
God,
Jesus Christ! I would be on. I don't know,
sounds like
-90 by that scoring system. Fuck it, I don't know.
It sounds like the kid turned out all right despite these parents. Can you be more mature? That's not the thing that a dysfunctional kid says.
Definitely. Like, I've never had to say to my parents. I probably should have said it to my parents at times. Can they be mature? But Like, I've never seen a need to say it to any of my parents. But, you know. They weren't helicopter parents either.
I think I may have been in a situation where I've had to say that, but no, they were definitely not helicopter parents.
True.
Guess who just joined the chat?
Oh, jeez. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus.
Our resident Yowie.
Yeah, like he says, what an ignorant sir. Maybe you want to read it out, Hugh Jarsz. Like, try and read it out.
No, I don't. I don't particularly want to read
put
it.
in your thickest Aussie accent.
I don't want to even engage him.
Like,
He's repeatedly proven he's not a great person.
Like, what the... Hold on. Like, he has things completely backwards here. Like, I actually read...
What a surprise!
Like, he says, what an ignorant circle jerk this is. Everyone has corona. It's one of 8 strains of virus that the body creates during common cold to fight off and expel disease-causing mucus. Like...
Well, he's technically correct because the common cold is a coronavirus. We're talking about COVID-19 here, though.
No. The common cold
is
is
part
not
of the family.
I think the common cold is a coronavirus or I can't remember the exact name for it. You'll know it, AB.
Huh?
You'll know the...
What do you think I am? A biologist?
Like, I thought you'd know what the common cold is. Like, I think it's rhinovirus.
Well, it's a rhinovirus.
Oh, yeah, rhinovirus. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, right. Okay, yep, fair enough.
Yeah, but rhinovirus just means nose. Basically, the thing that attacks the nose. But no, it's not coronavirus, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, okay, David.
Like the
David B22585 says some strains of the common cold are coronaviruses, some are rhinoviruses.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's true or not, but yeah, I've heard both, it seems.
But, like, Flat Earth Aussie Jesus is just wrong. Like, disease causing mucus. I'm pretty sure the mucus build up from things like the cold is actually due to your body trying to fight the disease.
Yeah. Well, mucus is dead white blood cells, so...
Yeah. If anything, the mucus...
To be honest, I'm not even going to engage it because I think someone's already highlighted. He's not even wrong.
Yeah.
Mark Weiser said he's not even wrong. It's just so
batshit crazy.
So stupid. It's
Anyway, let's not pay attention to him.
Yeah.
And we've got 20 minutes, I guess, if you want to cut this off before FTFE and Co come on. So.
It's the adjuvant made by the body. I'm sorry, but Flat Earth Aussie Roscoe, do you know what the word adjuvant means?
He probably doesn't.
Well, the answer's no, you know that. he thinks he knows, but I can guarantee he doesn't really.
Yes. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
All right, let's move on from Reddit readings. I'm not going to make a video out of this Reddit reading. I'll just make a video out of Karen time. On to Chatbox Travels. I probably shouldn't call it that because I'm stealing from Conspiracy Cats, but you know, maybe tomorrow. About that. I actually asked him if he wanted to come on. Unfortunately, he said that it'd be a bit too late for him. So
yeah,
maybe tomorrow I wanna settle down. Boo boo. Maybe tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
That's a bit wimpy of Conspiracy Cats, seeing AB Science is in the same time zone.
Yeah, but true. Conspiracy Cats is a responsible person. I am not.
Oh, okay.
Again, true. So, I wanted Fight the Flat Earth to come on today so that I could show him this comment. I really wish he was here. Because he said this is Darren Jardine says the 10 things all flat earthers say debunked. Eric Dubay. Okay, FTFE, if you think we really do live on a globe, then why not take the Eric Dubay 7,693.74 pound baller challenge, or have a live debate with him? doesn't Eric Dubé run away from debates or something? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, flat earthers would jump at the chance to debate Eric Dubé, but he's too much of a chicken.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's, we know that he watches Simon Dan's stuff, and the gauntlet has been thrown, and we know that he's not going to respond because, Eric Dubé is not only an idiot, he's a fucking liar,
and he's put out some anti-Semitic and pro-Nazi type stuff as well. I understand
some anti-Semitic. Seriously, if Hitler were alive today, he would be down on his knees sucking his dick.
True.
Well, trying to be subtle, but anyway, yeah.
No, he's not. He's not just a bit anti-Semitic or a little bit pro-Nazi. He is an outright neo-Nazi. It is simple as that. There's no way to go about it. He is a neo-Nazi.
So I actually wonder, like, how does Eric Dubé reconcile being homophobic with wanting to suck Hitler's dick?
Well, they're all a bit confused.
True. Anyway, we'll go on to the next thing, and we're going to go to Shills versus Shills, who says, your damage limitation doesn't really wash with real truthers seeking real truth. I see you, demon. And this was, I think it was on my debate review that I did with... Or no, it might have actually been on my video that I did talking about something that Nathan Thompson said, right? And you think I'm a demon? What? These people are just batshit crazy. I think I'm just a regular dude, right? And
I mean,
well, some are more batshit crazy than others. Shills versus Shills reckons that Wolfie's wife, and you've seen Wolfie's wife?
No,
she's a beast.
I haven't seen Wolfie's wife.
Well, put it this
she
way.
Is a beast. I am not going to comment.
She is not.
She could be a beast, but that's between Wolfie and Mrs. Wolfie in the bedroom.
Yeah. But, you know.
Well, I wasn't talking in that way, but yeah, he was implying that she was like Beauty and the Beast type beast. Only the beast side of it. But she's the beauty side of it, put it that way. And apparently she, from what Wolfie tells me, she's just the most amazingly wonderful girl. So, yeah, she's definitely not a beast, put it that way.
So good for him, I think, you know? Anyway, this one you have to read out, Hugh. Because we need that Australian... we need the Australian accent.
Oh, Scotty Storm. You got to have the lunatic accent as well. So, what's your opinion on this COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I think it's... In response to Scotty Storm, I think it's pretty bad, you know?
You know what? I think Scotty Storm is pretty much fucking bulletproof because he is so fucking deranged that he's just lost the plot. It's tragic now, and there's a reason why I won't really touch many flat earthers because
I've done one video on him just to sort of say, God, this guy's nuts, but as kindly as I possibly could, just to show that we should pity him rather than lay into him.
Yeah,
because he definitely has some mental issues there. He was treating his dad really badly as well.
Oh,
in that video. So it's amazing that he's out. Put it that way.
Like when it comes to these people, I'll generally respond to like a comment or two. Like I think it's best to address the leaders of Flat Earth, honestly. And some people may disagree with me. Sometimes it is good to address the people that genuinely believe it. But it's best to do that like Conspiracy Cats does it. Like what he did with Seek Truth, Speak Truth. You know? And then you can convince them. But then there's some people that can't be convinced. And that is unfortunate that you've got people that can't be convinced, honestly.
Yeah. I think you've got to delineate between the perpetrators and the victims.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's very important, right? There are certain people where you just know that they genuinely believe it, and yeah, it requires a different approach. But you just know that there are many charlatans out there, and absolute con artists.
Pretty much all the leaders.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go on to the next comment, and maybe AB Science can read this one out.
What have we got here? What? Okay, why would you need to debunk anything about Flat Earth or any Flat Earther? Is our tax money going to Flat Earthers or to NASA and space programs?
Not really connected, are they?
Well, I think what it is...
it's a bit like, I think the argument is like, why are you attacking Flat Earthers? Because they have no power. All of our money is going to NASA and space programs, so they're the bits that you need to hold accountable, I suppose. But there's a very very big disconnect in reality. There's like, NASA and all other space programs should be held accountable. Absolutely, they should be. Any scientific organization needs to be held accountable. We take great care in making sure that we are accountable to the taxpayer, and we absolutely are.
Pretty much anything that spends government money is accountable and transparently so, and they bend over backwards to do it. In fact, they spend a lot of money being transparent.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's to the extent of my train ticket to Oxford a few months ago is a matter of public record.
Okay,
as simple as that. There are, and before anyone tries to dox me, there's lots of train tickets from my area to Oxford. But, so looking for that is not going to help you. But yeah, you can get the breakdowns of our activities. You can get the breakdown of our expenditures, and that's just part of it, right? Because we are funded by the taxpayer, and the scientists above all people hold the concepts such as transparency paramount. It's extremely important.
And like a lot of people say, oh, like, why are you debunking Flat Earth? If it's not true, why are you debunking it? It's like, well, that's exactly why I'm debunking it, because it's not true, and because there is a fair number of Flat Earthers that do think it's true. Like, just because Flat Earthers aren't making money from tax money doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, they're fine, because I don't like anybody spreading misinformation. It's all down to misinformation, which I want to stop.
It's misinformation, and there's people taking advantage of gullible people, right? Yeah. And that is something that's heinous, and it should be stopped. And I mean, my approach is a bit different because I just look at Flat Earthers like, well, what can we learn from this, right? What can I take from this argument and communicate some interesting kind of sciencey bit, or do something fun with it? But it's all about people are being taken advantage of.
Yeah, and if you're someone who feels that, if you're someone who feels a bit gullible, send $1,000 to PO Box 724.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll go on to the next comment, which I'll read out.
Well, Why, is there no vowels in it?
No. It's just like each of you have, unless one of you wants to read out this long comment. It's a rather long
Bring
comment.
it up. We can't see it.
Yeah,
I know you do it.
I'll be 50 in a couple of months. I learned about the planets and the globe Earth and even watched the space shuttle blow up in front of my 5th grade classroom. The only thing I know without any doubt is that NASA lies about everything. I don't believe space travel is real, and nobody goes up in those tin cans, and those shuttles definitely were not gliders. As far as if the Earth is a ball or flat, could care less. I'm not staying. And everyone fighting back and forth on the subject, you're wasting your time on both sides. Anyone who has gone flat Earth is not coming back, and the ones who have decided to stay on the round Earth isn't going onto the flat plane of existence anytime soon. Space ellipses. It's one big waste of time and effort on both sides.
No space and incomplete ellipses.
2/3 of an ellipse.
Or is it 2 full stops? Okay.
Just my take on it. And if life is way too short to fight about who's smart, dumb, brilliant, or ignorant. Believe whatever you want. Oh, I got the ellipses right.
Yeah, but there should have been a full stop there too.
And let others do the same. Ellipses. Cause no one is going to convince the other one of anything. Incomplete ellipses. Ever! Double exclamation mark. Ellipses.
Incomplete one.
Yeah, incomplete. Enjoy the rest of your night, we are young whippersnappers.
So it's posts like this that make me lose faith in the human race. How can you get to 50 and believe anything like this?
Well, like, there's so many things wrong. Like when he says could care less, it's like, okay, so you do care about it then.
Well, he cares about it enough to make a post about it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says I could care less. So it is possible for you to care less.
Yeah.
You know.
The expression is couldn't care less normally. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. It's, you know, it sounds like, and he's right in a certain way. It's like very few people, anything we do in the videos we make are not going to convince people to switch back to the other side. There has to be more to it, right? You know, we make a video and that's not going to change anyone's mind. But the information is out there and the stuff is out there. And I suppose the ideal case is they watch they watch a Flerfs video and then bang, here's your recommendation, here's why it's bullshit, right?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I make you are going to convince some people's minds, I guess. You're never going to convince the Nathan Oakleys and Nathan Thompsons and J.M. Truss and that sort of thing.
But you're going to convince the reason I make truths.
Yes, yeah. The reason I make my videos is because of my daughter, because she's young and not, you know, she's educated in childcare and she's really good at that, but she's not educated in science or anything like that. And if she came across, if this was 5 years ago where flat Earth was flaring up and she came across flat Earth, she'd probably consider it as a part of reality. That's what I make. That's the sort of person I make my videos for. To people close to the edge who don't really have a lot of information or a lot of ability in analysing things, which, you know, the vast majority of the human race don't have that. They think they do, but they don't. Yeah. And that's it. If you're going to have a flat earthers are always very persuasive, but persuasive doesn't mean you're right. So you've got to counter that persuasion by having the other information available, as AB said, so that you can see both sides of the story, and then hopefully you've got enough brains to make up your own mind on the side of reality.
Yeah, like when it comes to these things, like the main way that I see it is there are people on the fence that haven't really decided yet, and it's those people that you're trying to convince, right? I think you want to show these people that if they go to the other side, they will be wrong. And that's probably what the flat earthers are often trying to target as well. I don't doubt it. Like they're trying to get the people that are on the fence more than the people that are, rather than the people like myself. Because if they wanted to get people like myself, they would have a fucking model, right?
Well, they would have some evidence, you know?
Yeah.
Not just easily dismissible stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's what everyone's trying to convince, honestly. But anyway, we'll go on to the next comment because apparently Team Skeptic's stream is starting soon, so we'll try and get through a couple of these. Who wants to take on this one? Or who wants to read this one out?
First minute in, bzzzt, refraction, looming, you're a Muppet.
And they don't even have spaces after the ellipses.
No. And 4 exclamation marks. No full stop at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's a text comment. You don't expect
full
stop at the end.
Yeah, I don't always expect full stoppers at the end, but the last one had a full stop at the end.
Yeah.
In fact, many of them.
Yeah. Also, he could have spared some of those exclamation marks to put them on the end of the "You're a Muppet."
Yeah.
Yes.
But
because that's a perfectly suitable place to stick some exclamation marks.
But I find that it's strange how these people go, you just say the same things every time we show you Black Swan. You just say refraction, looming. It's like, yeah, because that's what's happening. Although
we say 2 whenever you ask 1 + 1 is as well. You know, it's the answer. That's why we say it all the time.
Yeah, although the thing is, we can actually explain what refraction and looming is. Flat Earthers can't even explain what perspective or how perspective makes things disappear bottom up, apparently. Like, to be fair, I can't explain how perspective makes things disappear bottom up, but that's because perspective doesn't make things disappear bottom up. So, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one is from Gary Windbanger.
Oh, good old Gary.
Yes, I wanted AB to sort of make a comment on this one, actually. This was on my channel, if it's the one.
No,
no, it's another one. Okay.
Wait, Hugh, it sounds like you're doing a Riley.
No, I'm cooking my breakfast. You're hearing bacon and eggs sizzling in the background.
Okay, so it's not a Riley. That's good. But yeah, Gary Windbanger says, Nathan Thompson annihilated you. And I don't think he was watching the same debate that... I don't think he was actually watching the debate, honestly. I think he was watching something else. Because I find that it's a trend, though. They think that Nathan Thompson does absolutely brilliantly. Even though I went back through that, and honestly, I did better than I thought I did. Especially seeing as a lot of the people who are flat earthers in the chat were saying that I did terribly. But like, I don't actually see where I went wrong half the time. Like, Nathan Thompson was wrong, but it might be because Nathan Thompson was basically trying to steer the conversation in a particular way. That might have been why they think that he did all right. Because although one thing that I have to say to that is this here. Like, you'll only hear it not. Give me a second.
Got it. We live on a globe.
Everyone hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why I say that I won the debate, because he literally said, got it, we live on a globe. So, you know.
Well, you did, because he didn't really present anything useful. He was just all aggressive to start with, which made you look weaker, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, that's what I'm talking about by persuasion. They're framing it so that it looks like it's one way, even though there's nothing there to support that. Him being aggressive shows that that makes people think, oh, he must be right because he's so confident about what he's talking about. But if his confidence is based in bullshit, well then that's not really real in any way.
Yeah. So, AB, do you want to read this one out?
Okay, funny how the CDC now reports only 6% of deaths are actually corona caused. If Trump is so stupid, why are we the greatest country in the world? New Zealand isn't handling anything better than anyone. NZ does not have the population the US has. When you have that many people crammed into a small space, you can't stop a virus. Yet you look at places where population is spread out, cases barely exist. I live in the middle of Pennsylvania, where we have 0 cases and 0 deaths. Our hospitals are empty of Wu flu. Masks are not necessary if you aren't sick. Ben Shapiro can't say pussy because of YouTube. Seriously making fun of political commentator for making fun at a shitty pop song. You guys sound really stupid. Plan a walk, time to filter your echo chamber. You're surrounding yourself with idiots.
So you got that wrong. Like you can't say P word because of YouTube, AB.
Yeah, but I was kind of making a point there, is that it's perfectly fine to say pussy, 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 pussy.
It's his. It's the show that doesn't allow him to say pussy. You know.
Well, but it's his own YouTube show, isn't it? So
yeah,
you can say pussy. It's his audience that won't allow him to say pussy, because pussy is considered a bit of a taboo word, and well,
but fuck's fine.
Shit over it. Yeah, fuck's fine. Yeah. Because you can't say things like pussy, because a proper conservative is very prudent about things like pussies, because pussies are naughty bits, and we cannot talk about that because it's a part of the human anatomy, and that's not allowed.
Yeah. But
so we can't say toe then, eh? We can't say toe,
you can't
finger.
say toe either. No. You have to say T word.
All right.
I was going to say nose. Yeah, we're going to have to say N word, but that gets a bit ambiguous.
But then there's other things that I think we've talked to quite a bit, how like the CDC, you know, the whole CDC only reports only 6% of deaths are actually corona caused, and like I've seen like some things where they've fact checked it and said no, the way that this is being presented is incorrect. And the actual way that actually what's happening is something different. But like, if Trump is so stupid, why are we the greatest country in the world? Obviously talking about America. Well, you're not, right?
Yeah,
like
you're simply not, and that's
there's not a lot of countries with riots in the streets and that kind of thing right now.
Yeah, like if like America is nowhere near the greatest country in the world, and it hasn't been the greatest country in the world. Maybe when it was first, maybe when the native people were living there, and it was just the natives.
It's simple that no country has ever been the greatest.
Yeah,
country.
Define what greatest
means.
As
that. Yeah.
But yeah. But like I do admit, like, it might be hard to stop spread of coronavirus and where there are a lot of people. I will admit that. However, like, when it comes to things, there are measures that you can take to minimize it. Right? Like, if Trump didn't do things like gut the CDC. Now I'm pretty sure when Trump gutted the CDC, it was before the coronavirus outbreak, so he didn't have the foresight to know that. But still, he shouldn't gut the CDC because there's no coronavirus or there's no viruses or pandemics. You should, keep the CDC in case of that stuff. You shouldn't, I think Obama made a plan for if there was a pandemic, and Trump basically scrapped that. And it's like, well, if there is a pandemic, that would have come in useful. And what happens? Oh, a pandemic. Like, there are so many things that America could have done to deal with coronavirus a lot better, and that's ignoring all the Karens on the street that refuse to wear masks.
Well, absolutely, and yeah, so New Zealand does have of the low population density, right? Can't deny that. But you still have urban centres.
Yeah. Like, and
that is still going to be a thing.
Yeah. Like, the latest outbreak was in Auckland. And that is a fairly packed area in New Zealand. It's basically 1 million... I think it's either 1 million or 2 million people in one particular area, in one city. And that's quite large for New Zealand.
Yes, given the population's like 4 million.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at 5 million or something. So, you know, it's at least a fifth of New Zealand's population in one city. So yeah, obviously, like if any place is going to get that, then you know it's going to be It actually reminds me of something that I was talking about, but didn't quite get around to. Like I remember Judith Collins saying, you know, if I was in charge, the virus wouldn't have gotten back into New Zealand, except it came in through like imports, didn't it?
Well, it's also a funny question of I wouldn't have gotten back into New Zealand. What, you've got a direct line of communication? You've got negotiating power with the virus? Are you in regular talks?
Yeah, but like, what are they going to do? Are they going to just like stop all imports? Is that really your plan? Like, isn't National supposed to be making the economy isn't National supposed to be good for the economy or some shit like that, like, and you're gonna stop importing stuff that
over the duration of the kind of first wave and the second wave, she would have magically created an infrastructure that instantly makes New Zealand self-sustaining. Because New Zealand New Zealand probably could be self-sustaining. You've got
if you just ate mutton, you'd be right. Yeah.
Okay, here I think I'm gonna have to. Okay, maybe if we go through these two comments quickly, we can get through your comment, but we won't be able to watch Gary Windbanger's video.
No, it's all right to skip it. I want to go and see FTFE as well. And Team Skeptic is Robin, of course.
Yeah, Batman and Robin. But anyway, here we go for another comment. Walter Costello Ministry says, "Are you really that dense?" Spelled dense wrong. Did you notice the Earth, they capitalized Earth, not moving? Why do you only have a theory? I love how you put actual proof that you ignore in your video, donkey. God bless.
Yeah, and this is a classic example of what I was talking about earlier. He's not from a field where being analytical and having risk management and that sort of thing is common in his profession, shall we say. I'm assuming that he's a religious person, put it that way, a minister. But like, given the evidence available.
Yeah, but he asked, why do you only have a theory? Of course we have a theory. Because a theory involves a collection of facts and observations.
And a theory in science doesn't mean what it means colloquially.
Yeah. It really annoys me when people say, well, evolution is just a theory. And I liked what...
As soon as someone says it's just a theory and it's not even keyboard warrior, I've said that to people's faces. Like, well, you've just lost.
Yeah. But like, I actually liked what Tim Minchin said about it until I found out about flat earthers, because Tim Minchin said, well, I guess you hope that maybe they feel that way about the theory of gravity, and then they'll just float the fuck away. But it turns out that there are people that feel that way about the theory of gravity. Yeah. Although, there is also the law of gravity. So.
Ooh, the law and the theory. Ooh. What is the difference, people?
Well, I don't think Walter knows, put it that way.
But, you know, like
I don't think he does.
But I wonder, like, when next time someone brings up the second law of thermodynamics, maybe I should bring up, well, What do you think about the law of gravity?
Yeah.
Newton's laws of
simple as
gravity.
that. Oh, you can't break a physical law. Newton's law of gravity. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Anyway, the last comment for the day. Maybe Hugh wants to read this one out.
Screen hasn't changed yet.
Yeah, I'm just copying it into.
Oh, this is Gary's. Yeah, this would probably become a longer discussion. But I'll just read it out, and maybe I might have a chat to you later on offline or something. So Gary was arguing about ships disappearing off the bottom. That's what the video was about. And he says, ships don't disappear bottom first because of curvature. They become unresolvable bottom first because of angular compression and Rayleigh criterion effect. I think these are words that he has heard of but doesn't really understand.
That's what Nathan
they also
says.
appear... Yes, he's a parrot. They also appear top first as you zoom in or if the object gets closer. I have to make this bigger. No, I can't make it. Oh, there we go. Have you ever zoomed in and out with a camera at objects in the distance? When you zoom in, everything expands out from the center frame. When you do back out, everything compresses inward towards center frame. You get the same effects as you get closer to an object or as it moves away from you. If the bottom is still partially unresolvable, it's because it is beyond the ability of the objects being used for the distance. Simple stuff. Yes, he just described how a camera works.
But like the problem,
But he's just wrong.
Yeah.
That's it. He's just wrong.
Like the problem is, like they say that things disappear bottom up because of the because of angular compression and the Rayleigh criterion, right? But it's just like when it comes, like there's no reason why things would become unresolvable bottom first. Why? There's no reason for that. Like why bottom first?
It's an
Why not
isotropic effect.
top first? Like when you actually look at it, it should be that it disappears uniformly, but we don't see that. You know?
No,
And the
absolutely.
video he was responding to gave a good example of that. It shows it was about those windmills off the coast of southern England, off Worthing, and I've got a picture in there. It's got 4 of them in a row, and you could draw a perspective line from the tops of them, and from a mark in the middle because they're all the same. You could draw another perspective line, but then if you draw a line from where they meet the sea, it's a curved line. That wouldn't happen with angular compression.
Interesting.
But they just need magic. That's all.
Basically, yeah. And they invent words for it or use real words that sound good but don't actually mean anything.
Abuse words because Rayleigh criterion has fuck all to do with it.
Well,
because it's funny that how they can't resolve the whole of a ship because of the Rayleigh criterion, but it can resolve the cables running across the top of the ship. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that's a good place to end the stream up. How about you guys?
Yep. Let's go and watch Team Skeptic.
All right. Well, as I always say, leave a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I will see you in the next stream. Between you and me, thank you for watching. Also, let us know what Reddit you'd like us to go through, because it's always nice to have suggestions. But yeah.